G'day, folks. AoS Coach here, and we are here talking all things Hedonites of Slaanesh with my Phantasmagoria Battletome. It hasn't arrived yet, so you'll just have to trust me, bro. We're here to talk Slaanesh, and boy, oh boy, have the 6 circles got us in for a treat. Um, we're going to talk through all the things, the changes, the new stuff. Probably a little bit more talk about Army of Renown than other battle tomes. Certainly, you've got some really interesting ones. This is Sean can't wait to talk about the Armies of Renown. But you got new units, you got changed units, you've got a couple of RIP units, and we'll talk all about that. A new complete structure of battle traits. But to introduce my guest, a top performing Slaanesh player, it's Sean Pleasure Stone coming out of Australia. Yes,
Thanks
I
for having me, Anthony.
it's
It's
Sean
absolutely
Weatherstone.
amazing to be you, man. Um, you're a legend, mate. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this time. It's beyond anything at the moment. Can't wait to talk about it with everyone as well. And yeah, it's phenomenal. We've been waiting so long, the last Chaos to get their tome as well. So very excited. Well worth the wait for everyone that is excited as me for this tome.
Yeah, super interesting. And we had a game literally the other day as well. So we got plenty of experience to share. Before we get into it, if you are going to buy the Battle Tome, buy the new hero, buy Slaanesh, or even anything, consider helping the channel either with Warpfire Minis in the USA, Element Games in the UK, or Gap Games in Australia. Link is down below. It's a cool book. It's actually a cool book. I was curious to see what they would do with Slaanesh, given the last couple of battle tomes have been a real banger, from Cities being a banger, Daughters being a banger, Lumineth being a banger, Zinch being a banger, like even, Maggotkin. I was gonna say ogres. Like, no, I have no idea. Like, ogres are still missing, sons are still missing, Seraphon's still missing. So if we keep this up, like, Seraphon's gonna have an incredible battle tome. But I was surprised how good this was. Like, you've lost your crit 2 hit little shenanigans, but like when you look at the index, it's like it's so vanilla for Slaanesh. So look, I don't want to ruin Christmas. I'll get Sean. What's your high level? Like, what's your first impressions of this book? Given we've got a limited experience, we've got a new General's Handbook on the horizon, maybe some new Scourge of Gairan type stuff. But what have you seen so far, and how you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling good, firstly. Wasn't sure going in what they would do. You've got the temptation mechanic. It's always been a feel bad moment with the current mechanics giving your opponent options to use against you as well. So I'm like, how do they keep this but still maintain the heart of Slaanesh? And they really have done that in this book. I do give GW so much credit. It's well written. I think it is going to be a bit more difficult for people to use. It's lots of options, um, which we haven't seen for a lot. Like, my main gripe with it, the current book, is you choreograph your units. You know which one's euphoric. Your opponent can act without that. This one, it's much more reactionary, which I love. Lots of options in every single phase as well. We'll talk about that more later. But overall, it's a fantastic book. Um, Different play style to an extent. Lots of things have changed. There's very few things that you'll be playing your Slaanesh the same for those players that do love their Slaanesh as much as me. Overall, a lot of fun, a lot of options. My main loving point for it is you're no longer locked into the Symbarite or demons. You can mix and match them a lot more than before. And I've already come up with a million list options that I'm really excited to try out, including, as Anthony said, some good Regiment of Renown ones as well, and Army of Renown ones.
Yeah, so my feedback going into this is, and I'm gonna brace you guys. This feels like perhaps the most complicated battle tome yet. I thought, like, Your Lumineth was complicated. Cities could be complicated. I thought a couple of these latest battle types, Dock isn't that complicated. There's some little extra mechanics that makes you work harder. But like, Cities of Sigmar with their orders and trying to make sure you got your trios, and there's some bookkeeping and some things like that. Zinch with either, your changing, this is not like the other shows. But even like when we played our game, like there was a lot of learning. And actually like last night I recorded the General's Handbook, which is dropping at the same time. So enjoy that as well and add more context to this. Sean hasn't seen it, so we won't be referring to the new GBH. So battle tactics and stuff, like it won't be discussed here. I think you're in a good spot, by the way. I think the mechanics is going to be favorable to you. But I think the couple of things I'd say going into this is one, you are way more techie than you were, which could be a blessing or a curse if you just like your crit 2 hits, your euphoric, and just push things forward. But I do think you're way more dynamic, way more flavorful, way more combination synergies, tricks that I would probably associate with Slaanesh. And there's also some things that you'll need to consider with list building, especially with some of your uniques like Glutos, Sigvold, and Shalaxi. So we'll talk more about it, and we'll get straight into it, Sean?
Yeah, exciting. Let's see where
Let's
this
bring it
goes.
up. So what do you got? What do you got? Super simple, as you'd expect. You get your lore, you get your maps, you get some cool things. Really enjoyed it. Great. Like it actually was really cool. I always enjoy the maps. I love the map, seeing the relationship with Lumineth and with Slaanesh. Very, very cool. Love reading the lore about the Lord of Hysteria. We obviously do have two new war scrolls, by the way. The Lord of Hysteria is a new hero. Is going to be great for those people who are taking Sabarite units. And then you've had the return of your Thricefold Discord, which is a former Underworld's warband, but now has match play rules as well. So, and we'll talk a bit about points as well. If you're a Spearhead player, there's definitely a Epicurean Revelers Spearhead. So you get your Thricefold, some Fiends, and some Demonettes and some Seekers. If you are a Path to Glory person, like Sean definitely is, you got your Anvil's Apotheosis, you've got your Paths of the Princeling and Paths of the Hedonist. So lots of cool things you can do in your narrative or your Path to Glory campaigns. I'm going to go to the Regiments of Renown first, and then because I know Sean's chomping at the bit to talk about the Armies of Renown. There are two interesting Regiments of Renown if you play other Chaos armies. Initially, I actually looked at the Accursed Reflections, which is the Contorted Epitome and the Manifestations, and I kind of laughed it off at first. I'm like, who wants Manifestations and a hero? But it's like 150 points. And I'm like, you know what? It's actually not a bad little deal for a double caster, if I remember correctly. Like it's or a single caster. It's got
Single,
some
yeah.
cool, yeah, it's single, but it's got some interesting unbind mechanics and stuff. Like, I'm like, you know what? This actually isn't too bad. So if you need a wizard, it's actually not a bad little one. And then you have two Armies of Renown, and this is ridiculous. Sigvold, you know what? I'll pass it to my guest, Sean. High level. Tell us about the Sigvold one first.
Just it's amazing. There has never been a more flavorful army of renown than this one. It's crazy. And for those of you like me that love Sigvold, love his lore, love everything about him, how can you not like the chapped man that is arrogant as all hell and you just love him? The army of renown for him is phenomenal. If you want to see him infinitely coming back, if you want to see absolutely ludicrous things all revolving around him, you don't care about any other units in your army at all except Sigvold. His army of renown is for you. It's crazy. It's
It's
so
so
cool.
dumb. It's so dumb and so amazing. So, like it's probably like a 2-3 army, but you're gonna have an absolute ball with it if you're a big Sigvold kind of person. But the one I know Sean wants to really talk about is the combination of Dexcessa and Synessa, and some really interesting lore that comes with it. Look, you're keeping people from the rules, Sean, so let's keep this one brief. Otherwise, we'll be here till Christmas. But tell us a bit about the Synessa Dexcessa combo.
So Synessa and Dexcessa have always been such a huge lore point. You know about Marathi and she ascended and she broke out and that's how they were born and everything like that. They're such a focal point for Slaanesh lore as well. And it's their Slaanesh in the realm. They're fantastic. But on the board, they've never been you taking one or the other. You're not really taking both. Their Army of Renown make them work. It does in every sense of the thing. Normally, some of the armies of renown they lose the like heart of the tomes. This keeps it and gives you more as well. It's without going into too much detail. It's just great. They're viable as well. I'm actually considering competitively running the. It's called the Court of the Godlings, which is also awesome. But yeah, I think not only am I going to have so much fun playing this Army of Renown, and so many more other Slaanesh players will have the same, but they can actually go pretty well from the looks of it. And yeah, everyone will have a lot of fun. Very flavorful as well, just like the Sigvold one. And GW's done phenomenally on both of these Armies of Renown. I'm very excited to try them out.
Yeah, definitely not a 5-0 type build, but it's a 2-3-3-2 kind of Army of Renown. But lore appropriately, you've got to have Synessa and Dexcessa in this Army of Renown separately, which is like these little competing regiments, which is a lot of fun. But what's more fun is not this. This actually isn't quite fun. I thought we are going to go straight to the battle traits.
Oh, no.
This isn't fun. I wasn't setting that up for failure. Probably no surprise for anyone who's followed Warhammer 40,000. These units have been discontinued. So your 3 variants of chariots, so your Bladebringer Herald on Exalted Chariot, your Hellflayer, and your Seeker Chariots, they have moved. Not have, will be moving to Legends. So as of June next year, so 2027, you'll have one final run for your chariots as well as your Hellstriders. Hellstriders, I don't think I've seen in 2 editions. I don't think I've seen Hellstriders a long time. Chariots obviously have their place, and we get a final hurrah. I don't know what more to say at this point. Like, I'm sorry they're
Yeah.
going, but hopefully it opens up a roster slot for some new type of chariots. But at least you got a final hurrah tour in the next 12 months.
Yeah, it's sad to see them go. It's always sad to see models go, especially these ones have been around for so long. Yeah, they're pretty old sculpts, to be honest. Yeah, their rules in the current book are nigh unusable. I've never actually seen anyone use them. So it makes sense why they're doing what they're doing, but it's still sad to see models go. I've got 3 of them as well. They were fun to build, but what can you do?
I'm probably going to go pick up a kit just for bits. I'll probably get
Oh,
one.
they're great.
I think I'm gonna get one final kit for bits, and I'm gonna miss the Hellstriders because I use their shields in my other armies. But this is not the Doc show. This is the Slaanesh show. Now we can get to the exciting part. Sorry for anyone who is a chariot fiend, but I remember what you did to me in 2nd edition. Never forget. Um, well, your first book in 2nd edition, your second one was toned down. Anyway, your 4th edition book has a whole new mechanic, and it is based on both the Paragons and the Temptation. So work with me here on this one. It'll be a little bit of story time with Coach, but this is going to be very much the fundamentals of your army. Like, you need to understand this to a point where, like, Sean and my biggest reflection is really having tokens on who is your paragons, but also who has used a temptation, because as you can see, there's actually a second page of temptations that you haven't seen just yet. Obviously, what you don't want to do is set yourself up for failure where you've used a temptation in the earlier parts of the turn, and then when you get to the combat phase or the charge phase, you have stopped that unit that you really wanted temptation because you've already used it. So just context, this is going to take you time to really get the repetitions, and Sean will explain more, but let me go through it. So start of the turn, if there are fewer than 3 friendly paragons on the battlefield, pick a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit that does not have a paragon keyword and has not been a paragon this battle to be the target. The target gains the paragon keyword. So we got our 3 units are paragons. But It does say there, friendly units with the Paragon keyword on their war scroll count towards the number of friendly Paragons on the battlefield. If there are more than 3 Paragons, you basically just have to get to a point of 3. So you can have no more than 3 Paragon units. There are 3 war scrolls currently that we're aware of outside of any Scourge of something or new units coming down the line, and that's including your Lord of Hysteria. It's not a Paragon, but there are 3 automatic Paragons that you need to consider: Shalaxi, uh, Glutos, and Sigvald. If you have any of those, they are automatically Paragons and they will keep Paragons. So keep that one in mind, especially if you're running Sigvald and Glutos. It then means you've only got 1 extra Paragon unit. So lock that one in. You can lose Paragon status if a friendly non-unique Paragon has one of the following things apply. That Paragon has 3 or more damage points associated in the same non-attack ability. That Paragon uses a charge ability, and the unmodified charge roll is 5 or less after rerolls. Or the Paragon rolls a miscast after rerolls. So you put it on a shard speaker, it miscasts, it's no longer a Paragon, and it can no longer be selected for a Paragon in subsequent battle rounds. If that happens on Sigvald or on Glutos, because they are unique, they will continue to have the Paragon status. Sean, anything you want to add at this particular point?
As we found out, very important who you select as Paragon, especially if you've got a situation where you're like, I need this one to be a Paragon. You can't, as the player, take the Paragon status off someone. Only Slaanesh can do that. So if you allocate 2 of your unique, or you've already got one that's got the Paragon keyword, you allocate a different unique like Synessa, you can only have one that can ever rotate between anyone. And that's why positioning is going to be very important. Who you select is going to be very important. And importantly, it's a start of your turn that you select Paragons. So if you get double turned and you've already lost your Paragons, you're not having them for that crucial hit back that you're going to now cop. It's very cool. It's very unique. I think against certain armies, it'll work better. Like the 3 damage points allocated by a non-attack ability is the core piece there. So heavy casting armies, or just armies that can deal mortal wounds in charge phases, start a combat phase, things like that, will turn off your Paragon status. And as we'll go through later, it's very important to be that Paragon on the units that you need it to be when things happen.
Yeah, and even something like, for example, the second one, which is the unmodified charge roll of 5 or less, like you might want to save your Paragon. So, sorry, you might want to pick your Paragon as the first charging unit in the off chance. Like I can imagine there's going to be situations where you have a Paragon who, obviously a non-unique Paragon who rolls 5 or less. Maybe they're only 3 inches away. Like it doesn't have to be like you have to make a charge distance of 5. It's just the roll has to be 5. So if you're 3 out and you roll a 3, yes, it's a successful charge, but you'll lose Paragon status. So do you take the 3-inch charge and lose Paragon? Do you re-roll it? If you've used a re-roll before, do you then lose it and take the 3 or not charge? This is a really tough, potentially tough conversation that you're going to have with yourself. So just being aware of this sequence and, yeah, just anyway, just keep that locked and loaded in your head. Then we have 6 temptations. Now, the complexity here with the temptations is there are different eligibilities to the temptation. There is non-unique paragons, there is heroes, and then there is was it all of them? I think it was all of them, like any unit can have it. So there's like 3 different types of choices. So you also might find you get locked out. So what are the 6? So your sensuous arcana happening in your hero phase. Pick a friendly non-unique paragon that successfully cast a spell and has not used the temptation until the start of your next turn. While the unit using the ability is a paragon, add 1 to casting rolls for visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units while they're wholly within 12 inches of this unit using the ability. Anything you want to say at this point? Pretty obvious. Pick a thing, get extra spell casting.
And the good thing to know about these ones is any unit can be a paragon. It's not just heroes. So we've got in the mindset of lots of tomes procking off heroes and things like that. You can have normal units. You can have your demonettes. You can have your twin souls. They can be paragons as well. Um,
Your Thricefold.
and
Your Thricefold
yeah,
wizard.
exactly.
So
Threshold.
this
Great example.
Thricefold, this could be Thricefold. It doesn't have to be Shard Speaker, Contort Epitome. It could be Thricefold. Anything else?
No, that's it. One.
Cool. All right,
One.
pretty obvious one. It's
Pretty obvious one.
it gets tricky later on. So we got cutting barbs happens in any movement phase, not just your one. So very, very cool. Pick a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh hero that has not used the temptation ability this turn to use the ability. Then pick an enemy unit in combat with the hero to be the target. If the hero using the ability is a paragon, pick one of the following effects. Otherwise, if you picked a hero that is not a paragon, your opponent must pick one of the following effects. So I get to choose. You either get to rise to the insult, where for the rest of the turn the target has a maximum control score of 1, or turn aside from the insult, where for the rest of the turn add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units that target that enemy unit.
This is where it starts getting complicated because this is where, and this is how they've incorporated the old tome into this new one, where normally you're giving your opponent things. Now the temptation actually gives your opponent the option, the choice. Some of them, as we'll talk about later, have better options where you're like, oh, okay, I don't need to use this on a paragon. Other ones where, like in this situation, if you're nowhere near a objective, it's a very easy choice for your opponent to choose what is going to happen on this one. So managing who's a paragon when is super important because your opponent's going to be choosing what your ability is. It's a clever way of doing it. It's an interesting way of doing it, and it's why there's going to be so much thinking on who is what at all times with all of these temptations. And as you've now seen as well, there's a hero phase temptation, there's a movement phase temptation, and you can't use any temptations if you've already used one. So
For the unit.
for the unit, yes,
So
correct.
yeah, so if you've got I don't know, the Lord of Hysteria, or that's not a wizard. Let's Shard Speaker, right? The Shard Speaker uses the Sensuous Arcana. You then couldn't go out and pick this one or any other one afterwards. So it makes it really interesting as well when we start going into there's a charge one, there's a couple of hero phase in combat phase ones as well. So keep that one in mind. And the other lesson we learned as well is like you don't have to, like just because it's there doesn't mean you have
Mhm.
to. So keep that one in mind. Because I imagine if you give me the option, I'm clearly going to turn off your control score and get you down to 1. So if that's not important to you because you've got like a block of 20 demonettes on an objective already, then sure, give it to me. It doesn't matter. You're already controlling the objective.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is this one is +1 to hit for all of your units as well. It's not just the one using the temptation, which is actually the general vibe of all of these temptations that you'll get. They don't just affect the unit using the paragon using it, they affect your entire army within radius and things like that. There's all conditions for them. But it's very interesting that it's not just the unit, the paragon that is using it that it affects. And it's how you can get all your army buffs off as well. You can stack so many buffs on this one. And going back to what Coach said, you're going to need tokens because there is so many of these things you'll experience throughout the whole game and you'll just lose track. We did it a million times in our game, losing track as well of just what has used what, when, and what's affecting them.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good call. So you're picking an enemy unit. Now here comes the fun. Here comes the really interesting pieces. So you've then got beguiling glance, which is happening in any shooting phase as well. So this one's yours and mine. Picking a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh hero unit that has not used the temptation ability this turn to use this ability. Then pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of the target to be a hero. If the unit using the ability is a paragon, pick one of the following effects. Otherwise, your opponent gets to pick one of the following effects. You are either going to be, for the rest of the turn, when the target is using a charge ability, they must end that charge, move no further from the hero using this ability, or for the rest of the turn, subtracting 2 from charge rolls from the target. Now, this is definitely one that feels like if you're not a paragon, just skip it.
See, I actually have another take on this one, and I was looking at
Okay.
it, and out of all of them, there is some really fantastic temptations you can do. But this one in particular, you can actually make work really, really well. Using this Slaanesh tome has so many movement affecting things for your opponent. You
Yeah.
can control where they move, when they can take damage when they move, you can just hold people in place. There is so many options with movement that
Mm.
being able to say, I know you're going to charge into this unit, but my hero over here is going to do this. They might not even be a paragon. And you can say, well, you can't charge this unit that you clearly wanted to charge. And if you do, you have to subtract 2 from your charge roll. So being able to do that on a whim is fantastic. And it's any shooting phase. So most of the time, your opponent's buffing up their units. They're clearly going to try and hit something, and you can just ruin their day. And they don't have a choice because it's either -2 from their charge roll or they can't do their plan that they were going to do. So this is the one that I was actually the most excited for, to be honest,
Really?
because it gives so many options, and it also just is annoying to deal with for the opponent because if they want to do something, they're going to take the negative to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think for me, it's situational. Like, it's not bad,
Oh,
it's not great, it's super situational. Like, now we had a nice little combination in our game with the contorted epitome and the charismatic leader thing, and there was some real tension in that particular point. But if I was running, let's say, for example, there's a more Sabarite, a particular army, and this one's a real situational one for me. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just situational. So, like, if I'm 3 out or 4 out, or I've got 3d6 charge, or, I've got charge bonuses, or I've got multiple charge options, then it might be so bad, but there'll be plenty of times, especially with like a counter charge, this could ruin my day.
oh yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
That one's yep. Sean's a big fan of that one. Maybe it's just the destruction in me. I just want to get to the orange and green. Orange goes the Chief of Revels. So once per turn, your charge phase. So we're back to just your charge phase. Picking a friendly non-unique paragon that's charged this turn and has not used a temptation ability to use this ability. Until the start of your next turn, while the unit using this ability is a paragon, add 2 to the charge roll for friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units while they're wholly within 12 inches of this unit to use this ability. That's great.
It is fantastic. Um, the wholly within 12 is the only thing that people are going to need to be aware of that plays Slaanesh. Because from my understanding, it's after that unit's charged. So
Correct.
you don't want to charge too far. You'll pull things out of range of it. Also, if you're going in, you can see the really nice combat ones that we'll talk about in a moment as well, and you can't use those on that unit if it's used this one. Situational, fantastic. It's nice to be able to add those 2 charge rolls, especially 2 to the charge rolls, especially with the changes to our faction terrain, which used to be the only way to get bonuses to charge rolls. This helps us out with that as well. It's nice. It's not my favorite one of them, but I can see it being used quite frequently as well, especially when you need to get in and you need to bring your allies in with it and start doing all those chain activations and things like that.
Yeah, picking the right base size is going to be important because on one hand, you could put like a unit of 5 seekers or a reinforced unit of 10 seekers, and that would be great because you've now got a massive aura of 12 inches. But at the same time, picking a hero that might be on a small base and making sure that the unit that you want the +2 to charge is still going to be within the 12 inches. It's going to be like you're noticing a theme here. It's starting to get really techy, and you have to worry about bubbles and tokens and paragons, and there's a whole bunch of things as well. So I feel like at this particular point, I wish I could sell you all a bunch of tokens and get rich. this is going to take a whole bunch of time for you to get into it, but do notice as well that it's only your charge phase, so it's not going to help you with countercharging.
Yep.
Then you've got two combat ones. First one is Enthralling Vanity. Once per turn, any combat phase, picking a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh hero. So we're back to heroes. Doesn't have to be Paragon, but definitely is a hero that has not used a temptation. Then picking a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of that hero to be the target. If the unit using the ability is a Paragon, you get to pick one of the following effects. Otherwise, your opponent gets to pick the effect. You either are mesmerized, so for the rest of the turn, weapons used by friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units for attacks that target the unit, including companion weapons, have crit 2 hits.
Hey,
Speaking
it
of
still
seekers,
exists. It's great.
speaking of seekers, we'll get into that in a minute. Or you can go Break the Gaze, where for the rest of the turn, other than companion abilities, companion weapons, abilities for combat attacks made by the target have no effect. So we're turning off our crits. We're turning off some of those weapon abilities. This is delicious.
Oh, it's so good. It's nice to see the crit 2 hits still exist. That was the big theme for anyone that plays Slaanesh. It's like, we need our crit 2 hits, and it always feels bad when our units are going in without crit 2 hits. So we still have the option, and it's nice that you choose the opponent's unit, and then everything that targets it has crit 2 hits, rather than you choosing your units in particular. There was no worse feeling than choosing your units at the start of the round and then going, oh, these are not the units that are in combat. Okay, I don't get crit 2 hits. Now you know who you're in combat with, and you're targeting them, and the units you want to have crit 2 hits have crit 2 hits in that example. And also just being able to turn off your opponent's mortal wounds and turning off their weapon profiles is fantastic as well. So defensive, offensive, you've got them all right here, but it's from a hero only. And that's something I'll talk about once we talk about the last one as well, how specific the temptations are for the groups of things, either paragons or heroes.
Also nice that it's companion on this one. You don't often see a lot of abilities that target companion. So this goes back to what I was just saying, like, for example, Seekers, perfect example of really getting like crit 2 hits on both the rider and the mount. So just one mini example where that's actually a really cool ability, and you need to set this up with the hero.
And I'm glad they
Finally,
didn't take that away, because we did have our crit 2 hits on companions as well, and losing that would have really stuffed a lot of Slaanesh players up, because we're so used to our crit 2 hits affecting companions. So thank you for keeping it.
well, you do have some other sources of crit 2 hits, but I don't
Yeah.
think the spell, I don't think spells crit 2 hits. We'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get to it. And then finally, excess of agility. So once per turn, any combat phase, picking a friendly non-unique paragon that has not used a temptation. For the rest of the turn, while the unit using this ability is a paragon and is in combat, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units while they're wholly within 12 inches of the unit using this ability.
My favorite. He used it so much in our game, and also stuffed it up so much in our game as well. Um, the Wholly Within 12 bubble. Fantastic. Being able to proc this, have the -1 to hit, especially since lots of the things that had -1 to hit auras on them in Slaanesh now don't have -1 to hit auras. Um, this is fantastic. And this is why you need to maybe be a little bit more reserved with using temptations in the past, because as Slaanesh players, we know our saves are not the best. Getting hit really, really hurts. So being able to avoid that in an aura now around our non-uniques is great. Um, all of these temptations, and the way that I've been thinking about it as well, to kind of wrap your head around it, because they're set out in the book in turn order base as well. So it can be very confusing. You think it's overwhelming looking at it, but as long as you break down it into either Slaaneshi heroes can do half of them, and then non-unique paragons can do the others. So if you've got a non-unique hero, no matter what, you can attempt every single temptation with a non-unique hero. The hero ones are the ones that have the opponent gets to choose if you're not a paragon using it. So the hero ones are the only ones that have that stipulation. The non-hero ones just can't be used if you're not a paragon. So as long as you break it down into if it's a regular unit, not a hero, it has to be a paragon to use the temptations. Otherwise, heroes can attempt it regardless. You just give your opponent the option and the choice to make the choice if they're not a paragon. And once you break it down like that, it becomes a lot less overwhelming. Still a lot to think about though, and it'll be a lot of fun, but it will take quite a lot of games to get used to be perfectly frank.
Yeah, what you want to avoid, especially in the early game, is using your temptations available to everybody on a hero, especially when you don't have a lot of heroes. So if you are heavy on your units and not a lot of heroes, you will eventually lock yourself out of picking temptation. So just it'll take a little bit of time. I think it's going to be a steep learning curve. Give it 5 to 10 games, and then you'll start to really get to feel. But I do love the flavorful dynamic pieces, and I know we've talked a little bit about demons, but like when I look at like excessive agility, for example, I think of Painbringers, and when we get to the changes to War Scrolls, right? Painbringers have a 5-up ward if they didn't charge. Then you have a Lord of Hysteria who gives them rend -1. Sorry, anti-charge +1
Anti-charge, yeah.
rend. Anti-charge +1 rend. Then you have a -1 to be hit. All of a sudden, this reinforced unit of Painbringers is going to be around for a long time. So there's some cool little things happening on the Sabarite units as much as the demon units. So um, cool, but it's going to take some time to really get into the thick of things. I think, Sean, your game that we had, we kind of realized that maybe we had too many unique heroes because then it
Oh yeah.
started making things a little hard and you started blocking yourself out. So, do you need to take all of the unique heroes or can you find a non-unique hero to take the place? And I know we kind of got screwed over by having Shalaxi instead of the Lord of Change, but like that one little tweak would have made a huge difference in our game.
Yeah, instead of the keeper. Yeah, definitely. And I think the Symborites have they're
Did I say Lord of Change?
yeah, you did say a lot of
Ah,
changes.
Keeper of Secrets. My apologies. I just had the penny drop. I'm like, did I just say Lord of Change?
Yeah. And then yeah, the Symborites have so many non-unique heroes, which is something that's really good with them. Um, But when you get to them, you'll be realizing you might not want to be using lots of these temptations on them because of abilities that they've got as well. So you need to really think about your list building in this new time. You'll need to think about not just how many heroes you have, but what heroes, what unique ones, and you need to make sure you have those normal units as well because you can't use up, as you said, Coach, all the heroes using the earlier temptations because you'll just be locked out of using the ones that are hero specific, and they're all really useful in their circumstances, and some of them are just a why would you not use every single turn as well. So um steep learning curve, as you said, very exciting, lots of options, and list building so important.
And
I
a
stuffed that
couple of
up
them
in
as
our game.
well. Yeah, it's all right. But it's a learning, right? Like, but there's a couple of them here as well. Is that where, like, if you know that you absolutely want to have enthralling vanity because you want to have crit 2 hits, then you need to ensure that the unit that you want to trigger enthralling vanity is going to be a paragon. You need to protect it to make sure that like covering fire isn't going to take them out. You're setting them up so they can hit that charge. You've got to really make sure that that unit is going to be protected, and as you said as well, like making sure that like if you lose a paragon, the double turn can be even more punishing because you can't trigger some of those abilities. So nice little observation overview. This will set the tone for the rest of the battle tome. And to Sean's point as well, there are some things like the Lord of Hysteria that say, like, if this unit hasn't used a temptation, you get an ability. So, a lot of mechanics to worry about. Anything else you want to say at this particular point before we get into formations?
No, let's move into the formations. Very exciting, and I'm stoked about these formations. I really am.
Yeah, look, there's a whole bunch of interesting formations here from Depraved Carnival, where once per turn, army end of any turn, pick up the 3 friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh infantry units to be the target. They can then move D6. They can only make that move in combat with units that they're already in combat with. Godseeker Cavalcade is a passive ability where, while they are wholly within 9 inches of the battlefield edge, friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units can use a charge ability even if they use the run at the same turn. You've got the Artisans of Torment, which is going to cost you a command point in your combat phase, picking a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit to use this ability. Then pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit that has had any damage points allocated to it this turn to be the target. And for the rest of the turn, all of the combat attacks made by that friendly unit must target that enemy unit. But you also then get to add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the friendly unit's melee weapons. Finally, you have Lured Dreamers, where once per turn in the enemy shooting phase, picking a friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit that has had any damage points allocated to this turn by an enemy ability to be the target, and then you get to remove the target from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Where do you stand on these? There's certainly some interesting ones and some very, yeah, super interesting ones.
The biggest thing for me is looking at this immediately. I went Artisans of Torment. That's fantastic. +1 attacks. I can use that so much. And then the more I come back to this, the more I see how all of them are very good in their own way as well. They cater to so many different play styles. They cater to both demons and Symbarite and both combined. You can use them for any army that you want, which is my pet peeve of the current tome, where there was a lot of them where you only have one option for the army that you want to play. So I really like, firstly, that I can use any of these in my army and I can swap and change depending on how I'm feeling, how I want to run the army, things like that. Um, in Search of Sin, which is the Depraved Carnival one, importantly, it's not just regular infantry. You can use it for heroes as well. And 3 friendly heroes and infantry moving in any end of phase D6 would not only help with your positioning, you can use it offensively, defensively, things like that, and you can pull out of combat with it as well. Um, because if you're in combat, you can only end in combat with the thing you're in combat with, but it gets you out of combat. You don't have to do all the retreating that you need to do. Just wait for this.
You just need to roll a 4 up,
Yeah,
basically.
for
As long
yeah,
as you get
exactly. As long as you take that 50-50 gamble, you're okay. Um, Very useful. I'm more leaning towards Depraved Carnival for lots of my lists, but all of them, especially when you go to the Godseeker Cavalcade for the run and charge, we lost that, unfortunately. It used to be part of our euphoric units. There's no way that we can get that other than this that I've seen. I might have missed it, but at the moment, this is the run and charge. With the new JHB coming out, this might be super useful. I don't know, especially with placements of objectives and things like that. But it does it's wholly within 9 of the board edges as well. I can see myself
mm.
stuffing this up a lot. Um,
9
so
inches is
useful for certain
generous, though.
lists. Yeah.
9 inches is generous. Like, often you see this type of rule where it's, like, 6 inches. 9 inches is quite solid. Um, Lured Dreamers is one that I was, like, bouncing around with, like, it sounds good in theory, but, like, in execution, I'm not sure it's as good as I think. Like, Depraved Carnival and Godseeker Cavalcade are the ones that stand out to me the most. Depraved Carnival, especially if I am in a Sabarite unit, I feel like that slow movement that you have compared to some of the speed in the demon side, you can really like move that big brick of like models or make even like making like slangors like really fast. The other two, like Artisan of Torment, like it sounds good in theory. It's costing me a command point. I can see some interesting things in here, and maybe in combination. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Luid's the one that I'm struggling with. Like, it sounds good in theory. I just don't know.
Yeah. And the Artisans of Torment one is also it's like immediately everyone's gonna jump on it. +1 attacks is fantastic for so many things.
Yes.
But keeping in mind you can't all out attack, you can't all out defense. It's a combat phase command ability that you're gonna be doing. You need to make sure those buffs are up, that you've got the +1 to hit and wounds. Otherwise, are you really benefiting your army by giving them extra attacks, but you're missing everything? So that one's but then the Lurid Dreamers, especially since it's not a reaction as well, so if your opponent's a shooting army, you're gonna cop everything into whatever you're trying to get out of there anyway, and you can only use it if you live. So, I think it would be fantastic if it was a reaction after the attack's been resolved. Having a once per turn army enemy shooting phase ability that you have to do after your opponent's done all of their shooting, but then you can use items that can you've got an item that revives units, you could teleport that into the back line on from a hero and then revive things, like, it's just yeah, I'm also not set on the Lurid Dreamers. It's got its uses, but I especially giving the onus to your opponent to be like, "Hey, this is my whole, battle formation. If you shoot me, you're gonna give me the option to teleport." Your opponent's just not gonna shoot things it doesn't want teleporting anywhere on the battlefield, which arguably is a bonus, but also not happy giving my opponent the choice.
I have one idea in my head for this one, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. The one idea that I have is with Lure Dreamers, you could run maybe a reinforced unit of Slickblade Seekers because that War Scroll does have a reroll to charge roll ability. So you move it up, you make it the closest unit to the shooting unit. It then, if the person does covering fire, they take the hit, they teleport, then they move somewhere, and then they have a re-roll to the charge. It's still a 9, but it's a re-roll so that you got a good chance. If you can set it up with the +2 to charge, like, then it makes it a 7-inch re-rollable charge. But notice all the ifs, and, like, and all, like,
And the fact that it's enemy shooting phase only.
and if the person just
So
doesn't shoot, they just go like, "Oh,
if
well,
they
I
don't
know
yeah,
that."
exactly, and so even the covering fire, you can't even do this on the covering fire because it would be your turn.
Oh, yes, of course, sorry, my bad. Yes,
Yeah,
in
so it's I would love to see someone make a list with it work. I would love to
yeah.
be proven wrong. I just can't see it how it working, especially not with my playstyle.
I think something like the Artisans could be nice with your Twin Souls or something that already has, again, Sick Blade Seekers, they've got a 3 up already. So anything with a base of 3 up and you don't need the all out attack and get plus 1 attack, and you can get two crit 2 hits and stuff like that might work really well. But yeah, like most lists might be either Depraved or Godseeker. They're the least if buts,
Yeah,
or
exactly. I agree with
if thens.
that. Yeah, yeah.
If thens. You've got 3 heroic traits. I think we both agree we love one of them in particular. So you've got
Mhm.
Center of Attention, which is pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches, roll a dice on a 3 up for the rest of the turn. While this unit's wholly within 12 inches of the center of the battlefield and visible to the target, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made to that unit, other than enemy units that target other friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units, and then add 1 to hit rolls for combat attacks made by other friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh units that target that enemy unit. The second one is remove the once per battle in your movement phase, remove this unit from the battlefield and set it up again more than 9 inches from all enemy units. And then the other one is just heal D3 this unit at the end of any turn.
Yeah, there's obviously one that we like a little bit more than others. Center of Attention's fantastic. That's what I was talking about, all the movement shenanigans that Slaanesh can now do. This is one of the things that will just combo so well with all the movement shenanigans. I will say s the first thing with the book, though, everything there's so many things that say visible enemy unit. So you're going to people are gonna be playing around, you're obscuring or you're just the size of terrain and trying to break that visibility to end this. Um, but it's just great. It really is. It combos really well with so many things that are going on with the book itself, and you can just stop people by with the contorted that we were talking about, and I did it to you, Anthony, where you say, no, you can't go and attack this unit. But if you don't attack this unit, you've got the penalty. And it's like, it's a vicious cycle of I'm going to give you the negative to hit, and I'm going to take the positive to hit, and you've got no way to stop that. It's on a 3-up, which is my pet peeve because my dice love 1s and 2s, but whatever. Um, the once per battle teleport, I I think it's boring. Heroic traits these ones are all great, and it's just once per battle. You get to teleport. Yeah, some people might like it. It's not as useful as some of the others options. So I think you won't be seeing a whole lot of that one at all. The unseemly vitality, though, I like it because the current pendant of Slaanesh is heal 3 if you've been damaged at the end of any turn. This doesn't have the damage stipulation on it. Yes, it's on a roll. Yes, you're not getting 3 every single time, but it's more reliable. Um, and it does not cost points, which the current pendant of Slaanesh does. So also still really good. You can stick it on your Keeper of Secrets. You can stick it on those ones with really good ward saves, and it's very useful because it's end of any turn. But Center of Attention, I just can't go past it. It's fantastic.
You challenged me on my thoughts around beguiling glances. I think there's something though within, is it Dialente? Dialente, yeah, whatever it is.
I wasn't even going to try and pronounce it, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's something in this, right? And this is just a half-baked idea. Like I could put it back in the oven for a little longer. But if you were trying to set up enthralling vanity, right, where you've got to have a unit that is not user temptation, it's a paragon, it's picking a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of the hero that you've teleported, you're outside of 9, but within 12, then you set up a unit to get the crit 2 hits, including companions. So you could get a throwaway buff piece that's a paragon. It's non-unique, so you pop it out there, and it's giving up this this buff, especially like a small little hero that's not that fast. Then they're giving up the crit 2 hits. You've got some units that have gone in for combat. You've made the most of it, and now that you're close, like it doesn't matter. You got your thing. So
Yeah, very
I'm
true.
not gonna write it off completely. I think Center of Attention is definitely like a really good one. Keeper of Secrets, something like that is really good for like unseemly vitality. But I think there's something in the teleport, and people know I hate once per battle abilities, but set up enthralling vanity and some of these other abilities correctly, and you could have a really powerful combat sequence.
Yeah, okay. I do agree with that one, and I would like to see it used. It's just, yeah, the once per battle also just annoys me. I'm like, oh, come on. It can be better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fair. But like Center of Attention is definitely good. It's way more tricksy, but for people who are like, I don't want to be all tricksy, there might be too many tricks, then this one's a little bit more obvious. Your artifacts, you've got some artifacts here, obviously surprise. You've got Bashful Visage, where while they are wholly within 6 inches of this unit, friendly non-monster, non-war machine Hedonites of Slaanesh units are not visible to enemy units more than 12 inches from them. And given that we're just stepping outside of Gairan, if you were someone who really enjoyed obscuring and how much obscuring, this one might be nice. The Crown of the Earth Slaanesh, where once per battle, your movement phase, basically you can bring back an infantry, non-hero infantry Hedonites of Slaanesh unit at half strength, wholly within 12 inches of the unit. So a pseudo low value Keeper of Secrets ability, but it's only specifically to infantry. And then you've got the Rod of Misrule. So end of any turn, pick another visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit wholly within 12 of this unit. For the rest of the turn, when the target uses power through command, you can pick an enemy target for that command, and it does not have to have a lower health characteristic than the unit using the command.
I love them all. I really do love them all. Um, the Rod of Misrule is so interesting because I haven't seen anything like it in any other book, any other time. Having any unit be able to power through is not just hilarious, but very, very useful. Um, I will specify it says pick another visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit. So the unit that has this Artifact of Power will not be doing this. So just play around that. If they do this, they're going to get stuck in combat. But you're getting something else out, and you're dealing the damage, so that's really good. The Crown of Slaanesh, I think, for anyone that runs a Symbarite heavy list, will take this. There is no reason not to, especially with if you're running demons, it's a little different because you've got the Keeper of Secrets that I personally, I love my demon list. I run my Keeper of Secrets to bring back the demons. It's a nice backup if you're playing a demon list. But the Symbarites, you're bringing back half a unit of Twin Souls. You're bringing back half a unit of. There's so much good infantry, even just Bliss Barbs. You're bringing back half a unit of Bliss Barbs, which you've got no other means to do once they're dead. Having this for a CP to bring back any of those Symbarites is phenomenal. And I think Slaanesh has been missing that for a really long time on the Symbarite side as well. And then Bastful Visage. It's great, especially with how much shooting I have to deal with frequently. And Slaanesh is not a tanky army by any means. Shooting is normally the weakness that I've experienced going into lists. So having non-monster, non-war machine, but you're just guarded heroing anything pretty much as long as they're wholly within 6. Including the wielder. If as long as you don't put it on a monster or a war machine, you're also affecting yourself, the hero. Just be careful comboing it with Center of Attention that we just spoke about, the heroic trait, because it says they're not visible, which will turn off lots of the effects that are happening as well. And all your opponent needs to do is move outside of 12 and Center of Attention turns off if this was the unit that had this as well that used it. So be aware of that, but it's really nice that you're giving yourself guarded hero even when there's no one around you, and you're giving other things the same thing as well.
Crown is easily number one. Rod, you don't need to be in combat with the hero, so you can still just pick the unit that's in combat to then use power through. So you don't have to be as risky with Rod. But I think you're right. Like Crown, like I, I'm struggling. As if you're running an army without any infantry, then maybe you don't use Crown. But I reckon 9 times out of 10, whether it's Bliss Bars, whether it's Demonettes, whether it is, as you said, like there's so many different infantry units, like your Twin Souls, your whatever. Like you can insert all the infantry units. That's a no brainer for me. Like it is an absolute no brainer. Like you can be more aggressive with a unit. You can bring in a second reinforce, like a unit of defense. Like I said, yeah, you get it. You get it. This is good. You don't need to talk anymore about this. Like,
And also, it's in the movement phase, which is very different to, say, the Keepers one, which is in the hero phase as well. So you can do all your movement shenanigans and then bring things back, which is also very nice.
yeah, it's a good backup. Like, this will be like the most popular pick. Like, just straight up, it'll be most popular pick by a country mile. Your 3 spells. You got 3 spells. We did talk about the fact that you can. Oh, it is companion weapons. There you go. So overwhelming acquiescence. I did say at the start that I wasn't sure if it had companion. It absolutely does. You can see casting value of 7, picking a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster, and then until the start of your next turn, weapons used by your Hedonites units targeting that enemy unit, including the companions, will have crit 2 hits. For a casting value of 6, you can also get +1 to wound rolls for the target's combat attacks. And then the other one is Last Ecstasy. So picking a Hedonites of Slaanesh Wizard to cast a spell, picking a Hedonites of Slaanesh unit wholly within 12, and then till the start of your next turn, each time a model in the target unit is slain by a combat attack and the model was in combat with the attacking unit, roll the dice. If the target unit is a monster, roll 10 dice instead. On a 4+, inflict 1 mortal damage after the fight sequence has been resolved. So a little bit of Crystal Touch kind of going out there, tapping into some dock abilities, but not bad at all. What did we lose? Like, was there a spell? I can't remember the spell law.
We lost, and I've cried myself to sleep all week about this. We've lost our crit mortals. Turning our crit 2 hits into crit mortals was such a staple of the current book. Our unlimited spell is +1 to wound, which I'm not underplaying, is phenomenal. Unlimited spell +1 to wound for one of your units, and this is finally a spell that you pick your unit, not the enemy unit. Lots of the things in the Slaanesh book are you pick an enemy unit and then the things targeting that get stuff. This is one that is like you pick your unit, has +1 to wound, and with an army that is majority 3s and 4s, having lots of casters with this as an unlimited spell is phenomenal. But losing crit mortals. And
Yeah,
from what I've seen, there's no way that we just don't have crit mortals anymore.
no.
Yeah, it's going to affect my playstyle. It's going to affect everyone that plays Slaanesh's playstyle because that was a very big staple of it that we have lost. Not in a bad way. They've compensated in many, many different ways, but it is just going to be a different mindset to play. I'm not going to be able to crit mortal to up save things anymore, which is disappointing.
Are you gonna feel the pain of losing Phantasmagoria, the free 2d3 move after a fight?
It was very nice. And that one was one that is a very because it was such a close range spell as well. It was 12 inches.
Mm.
It didn't get to use much. When you did use it, it was phenomenal, and you're like, haha, I'm gonna tag this, and that's awesome. These spells, all of them will be used significantly more often. Last Ecstasy, I love for my list because I run blocks of 20 demonettes, so that's going to be a lot of fun to do. And it's on a 4-up crit mortal back as well. So that's fantastic. And the monster part of it, I like that they added the roll 10 dice
Mm.
for a monster stipulation, because if you were running a large monster army or like even just cavalry and things like that, you don't have the high volume of models, which you just wouldn't use this as much. Having that stipulation, very nice touch to it. And it also makes your opponent think, hey, this is going to hurt if I try and kill this unit. So maybe I'm going to target them with shooting instead. I'm going to do other avenues. So it's a nice deterrent and a nice hit back as well when Slaanesh get hit, because we unfortunately do lose models very easily. And then overwhelming acquiescence, it's just a different way of the temptation. You've got the temptation to give the crit 2 hits. Enemy unit within 18 inches is phenomenal. I'm not used to 18-inch spells. That is a really great one. It is also our only spell, including manifestations, that casts on a 7. That is not a Warscroll spell. All the rest are 6, which makes it nice and easy. Very useful. Love, as you said, that it's got companion weapons included in it. And all of these will be great for any list that you play, because again, we don't have priests. Slaanesh does not have priests. So these spells, love them.
And maybe if you're feeling the pain of losing Phantasmagoria, that's where you got to go to Praise Carnival to, while you don't get the free move in after the fight, you do still get the end of turn move for 3 infantry units. So I know it's not a direct replacement, but it might be a way to compensate for what you've lost. But
Oh, most definitely.
obviously losing the crit mortals is I got nothing for you. Like, sorry,
Yeah,
gone.
you're just gonna
Like,
have to adapt to that
can't
one.
can't help you with that one, guys. Sorry about that one. All right, so far we've got through the changes. We've got a good feeling around paragons and temptations and leaning into some of the changes. Let's look at our new units. You got 2 of them, well, 1.5 technically. This is your brand new unit. It's the Lord of Hysteria. As you can see here, move of 5, save of 3 up, control score of 1. Actually, that's wrong. That definitely is not health 2. Ignore me for a second. Let me quickly triple check
Health
and fix
5
that one up.
for
It's
Hysteria.
it's a health 5 and a save of 4 plus. So we'll just fix that up right this very second. And anyway, so what have you got? So you have 5 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 4s, rend 2 for 2 damage. So relatively okay hero. Like, it's not the craziest beat stick out there. But what you do get is 2 really cool abilities. One being the Master of Revels, where once per turn, army your hero phase. If this unit has not used a temptation ability this turn, pick a visible friendly. Is it Saborite or Sybarite? You
Sybarite?
Symbarite. It's like
Sybarite. Yeah.
I like what you just said. It reminds me of the Lion King. It's Simba, right?
Right.
All right, we got Simba and Nala, and that unit is wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. If the target is a paragon, apply the following effects to the unit. Otherwise, roll a dice on a 3+, you get the following effect. For the rest of the turn, while the target is wholly within 12 inches of this unit, add 1 to the attack characteristic of the target's melee weapons. That's nice.
And you don't
It's
have
a
to spend CP.
no CP. That's pretty good. +1 attack. So maybe that's why we don't take the battle formation to get
Exactly.
+1 attack if we spend a CP and blah blah blah. Not bad. You then have Slaughterous Celebrants, where it's a passive ability where while there are wholly within 12 inches of and visible to this unit, melee weapons used by friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh infantry have anti-charge +1 rend. So this goes back to my comment a little earlier about using the Lord of Hysteria with the Painbringers, but also it's not restricted to that. Like you can absolutely use it on lots of units. It's just that the Painbringers have a 5+ ward in addition. Not bad, not bad at all. And if I remember correctly, this is 110 points currently, as I'm currently aware. And it also can be a dark egotist, which then can join other people's regiments.
Yeah, all the lords, you'll see them pop up. I think they're all fantastic. In the Sybarite armies, they will be fantastic. In any army, they'll be really good as well. And they just combo really, really well with absolutely everything. All of the lords, from my knowledge, have 5 health, which is a little bit iffy, but if you've played Slaanesh in the long run, you are no stranger to low health units.
Move of 6. Move of 6, by the way. That's my bad. Move
Yes,
of
yes, move
6.
of 6 on
Move of
all
6.
our legged people. Um, Great though. Absolutely great. It's got really good abilities on it, and 2 rend, 2 damage is no pushover either. Um, yeah, can't complain about them at all. The anti-charge passive on it as well is not exclusively non-hero. You can use it on heroes as well. So you're just comboing with everything with this unit. Also, gorgeous sculpt. Really, really interesting. I actually, when it came out, I don't even play Sybarite in my list, and I'm getting this model because it's a really cool model as well.
Smoke or scythe, basically.
Oh, I
You
like
doing
the scythe.
smoke? All right.
Nah, I'm a fan of the scythe.
All
The
right.
helmet's
All
really
right.
cool.
And there's two helmets, if I remember correctly. There's
Yeah, there's
two
two. There's
helmet
one with the
options and
little
2
spiky
weapon
horns.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a really good price point at 110 currently. Lots of nice synergy. If you're playing
120.
like a real 120, I thought it was
Yeah,
110.
120.
Yeah, sorry. Lord of Hubris is 110. Lord of
Yep.
Hysteria is 120. Yes, sorry. We got points towards the end, so it'll be on like document form. But even still, 120 for this type of hero ain't too bad, especially for the anti-charge. The temptation is good. And the fact that it doesn't have to be its own regiment. So overall, I think it's good. Would I tweak my list and find 120 points that didn't already have it? Probably not. I guess it depends on the type of list you're running, but good unit.
And non-unique, which is very important, as we saw for Temptations as well.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. You have as many of them. Obviously, this ability is once per battle, but yeah, like have as many as you want. Buy them all. Buy them from my affiliates. Why not? Whatever, go buy them all. Make me rich. No, $3 and not live on noodles. You have another unit, which is the Thricefold Discord. This caught me off guard. I didn't expect this one to come back, but the theme of a lot of Battletomes is bringing back a bunch of Underworld's warbands. I really like it. This is actually a really cool kit I own myself, and I really like it. So they have a move of 6, they have a 5, control score 2, health 3 each. There's 3 models in the unit. They have a melee profile as you would expect. It's fine. 3 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 4s, rend 1 for 2, crit 2 hits. It's fine. You're not taking that. The reason you're taking this unit is it is a wizard, so it's wizard 1. It has a 5+ ward, being a demon unit. but also you're going to get a couple of things. So you've got the Thricefold Court, where once per turn, army start of any turn, pick one of the following effects that you did not pick in the previous turn, then the effect is going to apply. You have while an enemy wizard or priest is visible to this unit, add 1 to the unit's power level. This unit's attack score crit hits on unmodified 5 pluses, or each time a visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit wholly within 12 inches uses the rally command, you get 3 extra rally points. Then it has its own Warscroll spell, the Gifts of Pain and Pleasure, casting value of 7. Pick either a visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh infantry unit wholly within 12, or a visible enemy unit wholly within 12 to be the target. If the target is a friendly unit, add 2 to the movement characteristic until the start of your next turn. And if the target is an enemy unit, inflict X mortal damage on it, then heal X. The X is equal to the number of models in this unit. So maximum of 3, minimum of 1. 180, yes, 180. 180, obviously, much like other warbands, cannot be reinforced. And it has, it's pretty generous regiment options too, being any Hedonites of Slaanesh, and
It's really nice to see these. I had to go and panic because I had used these models for conversions in my army, and I'm like,
so
oh
did
no,
I.
I have to pull this off a chariot. I have to do this. And I'm like, no, I need my models. So because it is a really cool hero, 180 points is getting up there, especially for a 9 health, 5 up save, 5 up ward unit. But it can be a 2 power wizard, which is great. Using its ability. The critting on 5s, I can't see that being used very much unless you're really desperate, because it's still only 9 attacks, 3, 4, 1, 2, which is the general demon hero stat profile. The rally, it's rally points, not rally dice, which is
Correct.
very good specification to make, because using this, you can guarantee your cavalry, or pretty much guarantee your cavalry, are coming back, because most of them are 3 health, or you just need a
Guaranteeing a
single
feat.
dice to bring back a model.
Well, you
Yeah, fiends,
guarantee a
exactly.
fiend, right? Fiend's health 4, so you
4, yeah.
guarantee you're getting a fiend back.
And that's huge as well. Like 3 rally points on top of your 6 rally dice is really, really useful. And then you're just going to be alternating between +1 power level and rallying as well. So you've always got really good options. My one kind of disappointed part is the spells on a 7. I think that's a bit high. It's +2 move and up to 3 mortal wounds on something. I understand normally mortal wound spells are 7, but it's not a whole lot. I would be happy for 180 points that to be a 6 cast.
It is a guarantee. It is. I will say that it is guaranteed 3, right? So unlike
Yeah.
D3 mortals, is if you've got the full unit, then it would be guaranteed 3, which isn't too bad. I see what you're saying. It's the +2 move that you really want.
Yeah, exactly. And for a +2 move, I'd expect that if it was just no mortal wounds and just the +2 move, then I'd say it would be a 6. Because it has that mortal wound stipulation and it heals, that's why it's kind of bumped up to a 7. Still a really good value as well for a potential 2 power caster, and not a bad health pool. And being able to do all of these temptations on an aura, having 3 models is so important, because you can measure all those radiuses for the hero temptations and things like that, non-unique hero, off the 3 models, which just expands your base size. So it is very useful. It'll be taken in a lot, and I just love the sculpts. So, awesome. Um, but combat profile, I wouldn't be putting him in combat very much.
It's a wizard profile. Like my Gobapalooza, I'm not looking at my melee profile. Like this is a Gobapalooza essentially.
Yeah.
I will say as well, like this is a pretty good recipient to the Sensuous Arcana temptation. So being non-unique Paragon, um, then getting +1 to casting, so bringing that 7 down to a 6, guaranteeing that +2 to move, for example. So your Seekers are going to movement 16, and then if you take the run and charge sub faction, then like they've moved on to your next opponent's table. That's how fast they are. You could literally touch, put on crit 2 hit spell on them. Like there's some pretty lethal combinations that come off the back of that. But like you've got to invest, right? You're picking a temptation on them, then they clearly can't use the combat ones and stuff like that. So 180 points. That's probably the question mark, is like, if I had that many points, am I taking Lord of Hysteria or am I taking a Thricefold? Thricefold is a hero, by the way, so it will take up a regiment slot for those who are concerned about their drops.
But overall, very, very nice. Very nice to have that. And I just also like the heroes out of 3 models. They're just cool.
Yeah. It's a cool unit. I've used it for kits. By the way, your list probably has gone up in points. Just spoilers. So for any of those thinking, oh, do I have 120 points spare for a Lore Hysteria? No, your probably list is, as Sean found out, his list went from 2,000 points to 2,200.
Yeah,
Maybe yours
over,
is not
yeah.
yours. Yours maybe not as aggressive as Sean, because like Synessa went up 120 points. Was it? Like, we'll get to points. I will show you points, but like some things went up like 10 points, like Demonettes, which is fine. But some of them, like characters, went up 50, 60, 120. So
Yeah,
we'll get
120.
to we'll get to that. That was the most aggressive. So if you're not running Synessa or Dexcessa, it's probably not as aggressive. I'm not, it's not like Glutos is like 700 points now. All right. I don't know. Oh, yeah, cool. Now we got changes, right? So we're not going to go through every single change in here. It's going to be on the screen. We're going to call out the most impactful changes. So let's start off here. We've got Shalaxi, we've got Celeste, we've got Keeper of Secrets, we've got Contorted Epitome as well. Maybe let's go through them one at a time. Shalaxi actually was on the tabletop when we played. Anything in particular you'd want to call out here from like impactful changes, both adding, removing, rewriting?
Oh, her combat phase rampage is fantastic. So, she's still stat-wise the same in terms of health and save and ward. Like, yeah, same with the keeper as well. That's exactly the same. Her rampage, really, really nice. She's a hero monster killer, as she's always been, amped up. But her spell, that's the biggest thing. Her Warscroll spell, Strike First, is so, so good. Pick a visible friendly Hedonites of Slaanesh unit, wholly within 12, Strike First. It's on an 8, but
Yeah.
if she targets herself, it's on a 7. 8 is very, very high for a spell, but it is Strike First. So the combos that Shalaxi could do are going to be so good. She's still got her reactionary charge that stops your opponent doing their charge as well. It is only a hero that if a enemy hero charged within 12, but being able to stop a hero's charge, make it so it doesn't even count, she's still got that to her, which it was her core aspect in the current as well. So that's nice to still have. She'll be doing so much damage. She's still a wizard too. I do like her. I like her a lot. I've never even used her, and I still love her.
The spell, and maybe this is also a good recipient to the +1 to cast or power level on Shalaxi. I'm more thinking about the Exquisite Trophy as well, given you get crit 2 hits and your crits are scoring unmodified on 5 up. So that little power pair of the spell plus that, especially in the upcoming season, which is going to be probably very hero monster heavy, very lethal, based on what we've seen on the General's Handbook. This could be a really nice monster hunter. So it may be worth considering. Went down 20 points as well. Celeste, we have a War Scroll. I've used the comparison here of Scourge of Gairan as opposed, because we had that, although that's clearly going to drop off. Up 70 points. Did we like the Celeste one? I can't say I saw too much of them on the battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. The new changes, went through and I reread this War Scroll so many times because I really, really like this Celeste. Really good.
Yeah.
Um, so many combos that you can do with her as well in terms of amping up forever until the end of the battle. Her power level is so good. And it's just, you don't even need to kill anything. Just damage points were allocated to an enemy wizard, priest, unique unit, or anyone with an artifact of power. There is so many options there that you just have to deal damage to permanently gain plus on power level. Cumulative as well. So um there's just there's not even doesn't even need to be a wizard or priest. You've got so many uniques in the game that shield with damaging it, and with 9 health and a 4 up save, she's one of the most tanky units that you can have heroes in the whole tome. Um, but my main thing is her passive. Being the alternating picks for fighting, being able to fight with both a demon and a Symbarite unit wholly within 18 immediately as well. You're double activating. You've got the Lumineth formation. Um, it's lovely. She does so much. She's no pushover in combat either, with 4 3 damage attacks and 6 2 damage attacks. Keeping in mind you can also make her crit 2 hit. She's very, very punchy.
250 though, which makes it very expensive, right? Like the plus 7, mind you, like 250 is relatively fair for a 9 health kind of hero with some of the abilities you've got. And I think this is kind of one of the things you have to get used to is you are going to see points adjustments like you're seeing on the screen, and there might be some hero you might have to drop a hero, or you might have to drop one hero or one unit because your list is likely going to go up. So there was way more going ups than going downs. But in saying that, your abilities and your power level is definitely a lot stronger. Like, you're not flooding the board with crap anymore and just triggering crit 2 hits and just flooding. You've actually now got tools.
And that's why I was talking about list building earlier as well. It's going to be you're going to have so many iterations of your list. Things are not going to quite fit perfectly. And you need to think what heroes' abilities will benefit my army the most, because I can't have everything anymore. I don't have the points to be able to take everything. And with Celeste, her War Scroll spell is so juicy. So juicy. Unlimited range as well, which is very surprising. I was read it 3 times thinking, what's the range of this again? Just visible. And that comes back to so many things in the tome are visible
Mm.
in terms of picking units. But being able to stop or negate one ward from your enemy for your Symbarite target. Anyone that's got those 6 up wards, you choose a Symbarite unit and you're turning off their ward completely. And then demons having a 5 up ward as well, and you get to pick both. So as long as you've got a Symbarite and a demon on the board, you're choosing both of them. Doesn't need to be non-unique, doesn't need to be anything. You are using this on all of them. And a 7 cast is quite reasonable for that as well, especially as you've got means to give you +1 to cast. Big fan. They are unique, as they've always been. Great lore behind this model as well. Look into that; it's really good. But big fan. Just a little pricey. I couldn't
Yeah.
quite, and I tried so hard to get them into my list. I couldn't quite fit them into my list.
And I will say as well that with the season moving out of Gairan and way less obscuring, then visibility will be way less of an issue. So keep that one in mind. But it is a big chunk of change. So if you've got 250 to spend, good on you. But I feel like this is the type of unit that you have in your list and you drop at the end because your list is just over, especially when like the artifact of Slaanesh costs you 10 points and you like Sean, where you are over by 10 or 20 points and you've got to downgrade your keeper into a Shalaxi, and then you find out pound for pound what you're missing out on in your demon list.
Oh yeah.
Our keeper, Lord of Change of Secrets, Keeper of Secrets, has gone up 20 points, and you can see here there is a whole bunch of tweaks there. Anything in particular that really stands out for you? To me, Dark Temptation I dig it.
Oh, yeah. Uh, Really, the last rampage was really annoying, and you're going, "Oh, I hope I've done 1 damage to you so I can heal that 1 damage," or, "I hope I kill you before you kill me because I'm gonna give you +1 to hit," was really annoying. They've done it really well. You can specify 2 choices, and being able to get crit 2 hits on the weapons, but so that's the general killy one that I used to be using anyway. You just hope you've killed them before they kill you. Um and then subtracting 1 from wound rolls, really, really nice, especially since you've got -1 to hit abilities with your temptations. You can then -1 to wound, because the biggest change is them losing their, did it used to be called Supernatural Grace, and now they've just changed how Supernatural Grace is?
Let
With
me
it's the
let,
-1 to
let,
be hit aura in
let me
combat.
let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Dark Temptations. Locus. Anyway, we keep going. Oh,
Yeah,
Supernatural Grace. Yeah, Supernatural Grace was subtract 1 from hit rolls for combat attacks
yeah.
that target the unit.
And I believe Shalaxi had that as well as the Keeper, and losing that is going to be a really big mindset change. My main mistake when I was using Shalaxi is I'm like, "Oh, I'm just gonna give her the temptation," and then I realized, oh, she's unique. She can't use the non-unique Paragon thing to have the -1 to be hit. At least the Keeper can do that. If it is the
Yeah.
Paragon, it can use that to gain its -1 to be hit. But survivability has gone down unless you set it up, because it's now no longer innately built into the War Scroll. So play around that. There's ways around it, but just be aware of it. Her spell way better than it used to be. You used to have to cast the spell, then roll to challenge the control score of the opponent, and then if all that happens, you do the D3 damage and then roll one, and you're like, oh, fantastic.
It's a lot of things to do 1 damage, so I feel you.
So now it's, I like that each target you choose makes the cast a little bit more difficult, because it is mortal wound spell on a 6, which is quite low for a wound damaging spell. And most importantly, it's within 12 inches. Within 6 inches on the current is atrocious. Within 6 inches is a feel bad moment. Within 12, great War Scroll change for her War Scroll spell. I believe she lost 1 Great Blade attack, if I'm looking at that
Yeah. Yeah,
correctly.
yeah,
She used to
yeah.
be 6.
It was 6, now 5. The damage was 2, but now 3. So you have lost
Yeah,
an attack, but you've gained a point of a damage. So kind of balances.
happy. And she's kept her reviving demons part, which is important for a Keeper of Secrets. Overall, great. I think she's worth the little point increase, but yeah, it's good. It's a nice. I'm gonna keep using mine. Love it.
Contoured Epitome, really like the Contoured Epitome. For me, love the Swallow Energy ability, and why I said that I would now reconsider putting the Regiment of Renown in like my Hellsmiths or something, where not only is it a single caster, but being able to banish a manifestation at the end of the turn, and then if it's successful, then you get to add some extra to your next summon. So super interesting. And as Sean and I were talking about this during our game, you know, it allows you to have an up to an extra D6 to a maximum of 3. And then we were like, why would you want more? Why would you want a roll of a 4+ when it's a maximum of 3 on a D6? Why wouldn't you just not have a D3? But you pointed out, rightly so, that if you use a magical intervention to cast a summon spell, then you'd be able to almost mitigate. You actually would be able to mitigate on a 4+ the -1. So it would be still a +3 on top of the -1 from magical intervention to get your summon spell. So I like that. That's kind of cool. Plus, there's obviously a whole
Oh,
bunch of other extra things from the mirror's depth.
and by far, 11 out of 10 unit. My favorite unit in the book is the Contorted Epitome, and I tried so hard to make a list without it in it, and I couldn't, because everything about this War Scroll I love. It's still got the same health, same save. It's still got its 4-up ward, which I was
Mm.
certain it would lose. Um, Attack profile is all the same as well, but the 2 abilities of it, and it's still a 1 power wizard as well. So phenomenal still, and it was always quite nice. No point change, which I was very surprised about when I actually had a look at the points. Um, but it's Swallow Energy with how many manifestations are in the game as well. Being able to, without having to use your power level, end of any turn,
Yeah.
get rid of a manifestation, and then not just that, you're giving any of your visible friendly units wholly within 12 of it that bonus as well, the next summon that you do. And the manifestations are not bad for Slaanesh. Lots of the people that play Slaanesh I've been speaking to in the current tome are not fans of the current manifestations. Um, I think they've done them right. They've made them interesting as well, and being able to bring them out with a bonus, how are you ever going to beat someone summoning a manifestation with a +3 or +4 on a countercast or anything like that? Even any negatives that you give out, you can negate those because you can get all the way up to a +6 and then it just stays a +3. Um, and then the Mirror's Depths ability, which is its enemy hero phase ability, is what I will be using it for. And I built a list around this ability as well, because this, as I have been mentioning, so many movement controlling and movement altering abilities in this new tome for your enemy that on a 3-up at what range is it? 18 inches?
18,
Yeah,
18
18-inch
inches.
range. Being able to force your opponent to only move towards this unit is great. You're stopping those charges. You're stopping counter charges. You're guaranteeing or not counter charges because it's enemy hero phase, but you're stopping enemy charges completely from going into things you don't want. You're stopping pile-ins because there's a little designer note in it as well that even mentions technically a pile-in doesn't have the move keyword, all that sort of stuff. It still affects those as well. And then within 6, it's guaranteed. So there's so many shenanigans you can do with this hero phase movement controlling ability. You can force people to take damage from the mirror manifestation, which we'll talk about soon, which it's a lot of mortal wounds as well. So there's just so many things you can do with it. You can combo with the heroic traits and the center of attention as well, which I did to you,
Yeah.
coach, in our game. And like,
Yeah. Initially, Sean put the center of attention on the contorted epitome, but then we had a shard speaker at the back, like it was behind the demonettes, and with this really interesting 12-inch mechanic, I had the shard speaker pull me one way, all getting debuffs. Then I've got the contorted epitome pulling me another way, all while a mirror is like coming around. So like there was some really interesting mechanic kind of playing out in that space. So dig it.
great. It's really good. And also, when you all get the tome as well, there's a really nice lore blurb, like story blurb as well, on the contorted epitome. Takes up an entire page. I've read it so many times. It's cool. Gives me goosebumps. It's just a really cool unit, and I love it. I dig it. I really do.
I like it as well. As much as I like Synessa and Dexcessa, and there is our very heavy point. So Dexcessa going up 120. You can see the mask there. Synessa, the Infernal Raptress. So some of them didn't go up as much, but certainly Synessa, Dexcessa. But I think we would agree that the glow up, maybe you are under costed, maybe, or maybe there's enough, like maybe 120 is like 120 is huge, but then when you go actually, what does it actually look like now? So Dexessa is 280. You're now at like this baby keeper of secrets, which is how it was pitched at the start, but it's now making a real choice. Like no longer can you do Synessa, Dexessa, and keeper of secrets, because then you'll be close to, well, probably at least, well, like at least 2/3 of your points are now gone to these three heroes. So what are your key call outs here? Like, just conscious of time, we'll pick up the pace a little bit. Dexcessa, you're a big fan of Synessa and Dexcessa. What stands out to you on these two?
No longer need to be taken in conjunction in a regular list. Um, Before they were so dependent on that, and lots of people were taking Synessa for the caster. Um, but now they don't need to be. You can actually make lists without them. Dexessa is hitty. She really is now, with +1 charge damage on 8 attacks, and she still has her cumulative attack profile. She can be a menace and a half. Still heals if she kills enemy models, still gains the extra attacks. Being able to chain with paragons is going to be
Mm.
really important for her. That is a fantastic reaction. Being able to chain activate with a paragon unit is going to be phenomenal with her. Health and everything's the same, saves the same, wards the same. Um, and then End of turn, killing a model, 2d6 and roll higher than their health. Um, and +2 to that roll as well if you charge, you're going to be popping like 6 health models. Um, keep struggle to keep her alive. She's still the low health, low
Yeah.
save thing that she's always been, but really, really punchy, really punchy. I think she'll be a big target for people as well because she is a flying monster. You'll want to get rid of her, and being able to charge. The important thing is she can use charge abilities even if she's in combat, which includes counter charges. If anyone charges into her, spend those 2 CP, you can bounce into a less threatening combat. You can still gain her 2 Ren 3 damage even when you charge her. Just make sure she survives. Very punchy, very punchy. Synessa.
Can I just say though,
Oh,
before we go to Synessa, I just want to double down on a comment. Is that remember again with the season moving out of Gairan, more obscuring is disappearing. You're gonna see a return of shooting. You're going to see medium range shooting, and she is going to have a massive target on her head. So learn to protect her, and they're not that tanky, right? So you know, um, yeah,
and
just
a
keep
lot
that
of
one in
points
mind.
now to have shot
That's
off the
my
board
point.
early.
That is literally my point. Like at the old point, you're like, sure, 150-ish, I can handle that. But when you're paying close to 300, that's a risk. And especially if you've got a paragon on it, or yeah, just protect it.
Synessa, I really like. She's got a start of battle round ability, which I wasn't sold on initially. It's the way to get her +1 power level. She no longer needs her sister with her to get that +1 power level. You just need a visible enemy wizard or priest within 18. Um, so start of battle round, set that up. Make sure you set that up when the turn battle round 2 comes around. And you have to roll higher than their power level to be able to trigger this. But subtracting 1 from casting enchanting rolls for all enemy units. I had to read it like 3 times to be like, oh, it's the one that you chose. It's actually not. You pick an enemy wizard or priest, you roll higher than their power level, and then any enemy wizards or priests within 18 of her will have -1 to their casting enchanting rolls. So I think that's a really nice combo. You pick the lowest one, you don't care really what one, just make sure you stay within 18 of the target that you choose, and then anything else around has their -1, and she gets her +1. So it's a pretty nice little combo with her. War Scroll spell is no longer +1 to hit and wound. You've got means to get +1 to hit and wound elsewhere. You can subtract 1 from the attacks characteristic of a target within 18. That's going to be a menace to so many, like, especially horde armies. On a 7, you're subtracting 1 from their attack profile on a spell. That's great. She's worth the points. And she still has her anti-wound charge thing as well. So overall, really nice. Still very squishy. Still exactly the same stats in terms of health and things like that. And even her shooting profile, all that's all the same. Just be careful with these two, because they are only 10 health with a 5 up save and a 5 up ward, and there are a lot of points now. That's all I'm going to say about that. Be careful.
And I know it's late night, so bear with me with this dumb question. You could be -2 to a cast, right? Like
Yes, yeah.
you, yeah, so like you could turn off magical intervention essentially with a -2 to chanting or casting. Like that is a massive disincentive to actually go out and spend that CP, right? So even punishing me on my own turn to cast, that counter cast, even harder.
hmm
So for those people who are like banking up prayer points to try to unleash that higher level version, potentially a -2, yeah, no thank you.
And it just makes her more of a target, unfortunately, because that is a very good aura debuff, pretty much board wide if she's anywhere central. Um, shooting, I haven't quite worked out a way to keep mine alive, to be honest, but we'll work on it because I definitely love the twins.
With the mask and the infernal raptress, anything that really stands out for you on these two? I don't
Mask movement is phenomenal. Any movement phase moving 2d3 and can end in combat, you're going to have this mask be an absolute menace. Combo that with the formation that allows any infantry, because the mask is still infantry, moving d6 at the end of the turn, and in the movement phase, the mask is going to be a menace, which it always has been. No teleporting for it. It doesn't have the little flippy mask to heal 3 and gain 3 attacks anymore, but it's still 6 attacks with 1 rend 2 damage, and stopping retreat abilities as well. It's going to be a great menace with a 4-up ward, and when you need to, it can turn off commands for your enemy, your opponent as well, which doesn't require a roll. So very useful, nice and cheap little hero. It is still unique because it's got its wonderful lore to it, so it makes it a little bit iffy whether I want to take it or not. But great changes for that one. And then the Enrapturous for her points are great because I think she's still 100. Can you confirm that one? I think she's still,
Yeah,
yeah, she's still 100.
Infernal Rapturous Herald, yeah, 100
Yeah,
points.
100, which is great. And being able to be a 1 power wizard for unbinding and banishing just gives that extra value. And then when you banish or unbind, you're dealing mortal wounds to whoever cast it, is just an incentive for your opponent not to even attempt a spell. All those times that you've just got that one throwaway spell, you're like, I may as well. If she unbinds it, you're taking mortal wounds, which is not a very fun thing for anyone. And combos really well with Demonettes
Yeah, I was just
because
yeah, that last bullet point of returning a number of slain models to the friendly unit, that's so good. And then like
when
if you
they're
have
in combat as
Thricefold,
well,
then yeah,
it's not
like
like a
that.
rally.
And then you've got you bring back at half strength or your keeper, like that. You're gonna get a lot of mileage out of a reinforced unit of demonettes.
And the biggest change for her, despite all of this, which is fantastic, is her combat profile used to be god awful. It used to be 3 demon ed attacks without any charge bonuses. She's now got the normal hero demon profile of 3-4-1-2 with 5 attacks as well. So she used to be, she's in combat, I'm not even gonna like, it's irrelevant rolling it. Now she can actually do some little bit of hitty stuff in combat because it used to be not even worth like trying to roll. You like, this is a waste of time, but I have to. Um, yeah, big fan, and I can't also have a list without the Infernal Raptors at 100 points. She's such good value.
Yeah, it's a very good value piece, and it does offer a lot. Obviously, if you're running mortals instead of demons, the value does drop a little bit, but like even still, like the spell shedding symphony is a pretty solid little ability, even if you were in the Sybarite. So not bad at all.
She's also a Slaaneshi Beguiler, so she can go in lots of the other regiments as well. There's only 2 of them, and I think it's just the Mask and her, so put them in your
Yeah,
list. They're good.
yeah, there's a lot of dark egotists. There's only 2 beguilers, and that is, you said, the Infernal Raptress and the Mask. They're your 2 beguilers. Yeah, they're your 2 beguilers. You got Demonettes, Seekers, Fiends, and then we'll go to the mortal side. So Demonettes went up 10 points. We got Seekers going down 10, and then Fiends had no changes.
Yeah, and Demonettes have been my staple in all of my lists. They've always been really good. They're still really good. More infantry killing. With all the temptations, they're a lot tankier than they used to be. Don't underestimate 20 Demonettes because you're stacking negatives to hit and wound and things on them as well. They live a lot longer than even I gave them credit for. I normally didn't give Demonettes credit at all. Comboing with the Enrapturous, comboing with the spell to deal splashback mortals as well. They're just a menace and a half. They really are. Love them. And their
They
little charge phase move. Oh,
well,
they're going to be tormenting people.
we didn't get that off though, and maybe that's because I charged you with them.
Yeah.
And I think, like we were talking about this a little earlier, where I think to make the most of this, you want to have like some MSU versions of this as well as a reinforced, because to really get into like leap screens or to move this like really big blob of demonettes, if you roll a 1 on that D3+1, you don't really get to see the benefit. So, there's some
Yeah,
interesting things,
exactly.
yeah, and
Maneuvering 20 Demonettes has always been a struggle. So, yeah, the
yeah.
MSU ones with D3+3 gives you some good movement to get into things.
I was surprised how well they soaked up buffs. Like, they soaked up buffs and they soaked up debuffs really well. Like, you look at them on paper and you're like, threes, fours, blur. But then you start stacking on these things and you get a real force multiplier, much more than maybe some of the other units in your army.
Especially for 110 points as well. They're very good value for what they are. And they're still hitty, which is nice. Seekers, I actually didn't realize until so long that their save went up to a 6. I just went off my auto brains thinking they're a 5-up save.
So you
Their
were
saves
cheating
got
me.
worse. Yeah,
No
I was
cheating.
cheating you the entire game. I hope you know that. Um,
It's all right. I
they've
removed
still
them
got
in
their
it.
handicap. Yeah, exactly. Um, 6 up save, 6 up ward. They're just a quick demonette now as well. They've got their companion one, but their ability no longer is the can't roll less than a 4 on their run roll. That is Quicksilver Speed, which is if it's charged and hasn't used power through, it's using the normal move ability as if it was your movement phase. And with their now 14-inch move, it's crazy good with the positioning that you can do with them. There's still a reinforced 30 wound block of 6 up save,
Yeah.
6 up ward now. And yeah, you can just do so many shenanigans with them. They still hit really hard. They're still 2-rend against cavalry, and they're quick. They're very, 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 very quick. So big fan of them. I am genuinely a big fan of those Seekers.
And then you bring on a Keeper of Secrets, you bring them back at half strength, like if once they're disappeared. So, like they're a good little unit. I was impressed. I was impressed even with your cheating of a 5 up save. I was impressed. I was impressed with what they did. Both their speed, their hitting power, especially when you have crit 2 hits, especially on companion weapons. They went a long way for the points value.
They did, and they're just so crucial in lots of lists with 14-inch move. Not many things have 14-inch move. Um,
I would be before you move to Fiends, I'd be curious, I maybe we have another game soon, is like, what does Seekers look like in that battle formation where you get the run and charge? Like, if you've
yeah,
got two blocks of reinforced, run and charge, hit the flanks, come in, that could be really powerful. You put on the +2 to move spell as well. Like, this could be a crazy unit, so,
you
you
just
could
say,
build with
your
that.
deployment is my deployment. There's no stipulation being like, I can't be around your entire army with 16-inch move, run and charge. It's
Awesome.
crazy. It's so good.
Awesome for battle tactics scoring, pinning your opponent down. Like there's a lot, there's something in there. But anyway, fiends. Not. I think probably the biggest thing that we noticed was the loss of anti-monster, but the gain of anti-wizard, which I thought was obviously lore beneficial, but maybe less. Well, it depends on what you're going into, right? Like some monsters are wizards, but then for the
Lots
ones
of
who
them are,
aren't
yeah.
wizards, yeah, like it's. I guess I don't know.
I don't hate the new fiends. I've loved my fiends. Slaanesh has lost all of its strike last capability now, and the 4 up
Yes.
strike last on an MSU Fiends was so important. Having them lose that, I don't know if their points shouldn't have gone down. They stayed the same, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, Fiend stayed the same
Yeah.
at 150 for 3,
3. Yeah.
4 health, 5 up, move of 10, and the wizard debuffing with the subtracting 1 from casting and unbinding rolls. There's some interesting things in there, but I think this is probably where you're gonna feel the change the hardest. Like, you looked at me when you lost strike last, you're like, "Oh." Like, all of a sudden, I think the value of the and I think we even argued, like, is this the unit we drop from your list to actually enable you to get the keeper and the things that you want to get in? Because
Yeah, it does hurt, and it's especially when people are reliant on it, and lots of Slaanesh players as well brought them for their strike last. The main reason that I'm keeping them is they lost the companion keyword. It was my pet peeve, especially having a unit that has a champion model and a champion keyword and had the companion keyword, and that was its only attack profile. So having it lose a companion keyword is so important, especially with a high damage attack with 4 attacks each and D3 damage, being able to buff the hits and the wounds, being able to still get 2 rend against wizards, and there's lots of monster wizards out there as well. I can still go into Rodicus. Um, and then they've kept their Arcane Disruption. So with Synessa and Arcane Disruption, your opponent's countercasting on a -3. Why would you ever spend the CP to countercast on a -3 to cast? Um, their end of turn ability, you had some very good points with it being actually able to trigger. I'm not big fan of it. It's just kind of there, and I will
yeah,
probably forget it a lot, to be honest. Um, but yeah,
at
still
least
still very useful.
At least it affects priest, though, I will say. Like this one, you probably forget that it affects priest because Arcane Disruption is wizard only. The anti-wizard on the War Scroll, like there's very little priest, and given how many priests are running around right now, where it's Khorne and Doc and things like that, you do lose a lot of the value from Fiend. So I'll be curious to see if they remain in lists, but I can also see them being one of the first cut for something else.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that point.
Big bad booty daddy himself, Glutos, and this chariot. There is a lot of changes here,
Oh,
and
yeah.
obviously the one that stands out to me the most is the change of Paragon of Gluttony, where you can see the one of the delicacies he can savior, and you can't pick the same delicacy that you picked the previous turn. So there's a little bit of little interaction here between the 4 bullet points. Glutos went up 20 points, so he's now worth 460. So 460. 460. So obviously, if you're running a mortal list, like this is definitely still the centerpiece that we've already enjoyed.
I
There's
also think
tweaks
that's the
here
most
and there.
expensive unit in the army. I'm pretty sure there's nothing more expensive than Glutos right now.
The probably the key call out here, and again, I'm just going to do a matchup dependent. The save is now a 3 up, used to be 4, which is good, but the ward is now a 6, not a 5, so bad. So depending on what we're going into, like if you're going into a mortal wound kind of meta, then you're definitely going to be far off worse. But a 3 up save base instead of a 4 up is pretty good little tanky piece there as well, especially with some of the debuffs around.
Yeah, I like his Gorge of well, I like his Paragon of Gluttony. Um, it it can be used so many times. It's now like I would actually viably use him in a demon list, in a freaking regular Symbarite list. I just really I do like him. Um, big changes on him as well. Uh, crippling famishment. Is that the name? Yeah, crippling famishment on his war scroll spell is still as annoying as ever with the halving the move characteristic and halving. I didn't even realize it was halving charge rolls as well. Not even removing a dice, just halving the result. Really, really good. Um, very hitty, but overall, for a 2 power wizard as well, he's going to be a core piece for a lot of Symbarite lists. Symbarite lists.
Yeah. I think what's really interesting as well is if you look at the previous War Scroll of like the Grand Gourmand, like you're building up like old Doc, you're building up these successive buffs that are just applying, whether it's like +1 to run and charge and +3 to control score. While now you're picking off probably more, maybe more impactful abilities, but you can't obviously use them 2 turns in a row. The other one as well is obviously Gorge of on Excess, where you're bringing back either like 1, Myrmidich, 3 Bliss Barb Archers. So you'll be able to bring back, and again, we talked the 5 up ward on the Pain Bringers and things like that. But there's going to be a good little centerpiece for like a castle-y build. So I think he's certainly interesting, but obviously losing the 5 up ward is going to hurt.
Being able to stop shooting, making not things non-visible is really good though, because he's not a monster; he's a war machine. So
Yeah,
his Heart of
correct.
the Shadow Demon would affect himself as well. So, um, yeah, very nice, especially when we're going to be seeing lots of shooting in the next GHB.
Yes, yes. But overall, Glutos is Glutos, and Glutos will do Glutos things. Sigvold, my friend. Sigvold went up 50 points, and certainly interesting. Like we just talked about the Army of Renown, which is great. We've seen a rewritten of the Power of Vainglory. We've seen a new ability called Gaze Upon My Magnificence and Weep. Like that's just straight up lit. Like straight up that I can see why with that name it's gone up 50 points. And it's one of the it's a Sigvold temptation, which I absolutely love. So if Sigvold hasn't used a temptation, and we know that being a paragon automatically has to be like you can't get out of that. Your opponent gets to pick either to adulate or reject. So if you adulate until the start of your next turn while the target is in combat with this unit, it must be picked to be the target of a pile-in by the enemy unit, which is great. Or you're inflicting D3+3 mortal damage to the target and then healing Sigvold that X number, which could be up to 6. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to be healing Sigvold anything, because with a 3-up save and a 4-up ward, he is hard enough to hit and hurt as is. If you're going to be healing him anything, you've done something wrong.
Take the pile in. Just take it. Just take the pile in.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to be stopping so many things from, oh, I've only got half my unit that can even attack this thing that I want to attack now. I can't pile in, because the alternative is make this godly guy that can just crit 2 hits on his profile as well now, which is really, really nice.
Strike first.
Strike first on his charge.
If this charges, you strike for, as long as your charge is 6+. Like, as long as you run a 6+ charge, strike first, crit 2 hits. Like, it's just a menu of pain.
And comboing with any Slaanesh units as well, giving them crit 2 hits wholly within 12 of him. He's just sharing the love of Sigvold to absolutely everyone. He's always been a centerpiece in my cabinet as well, the golden boy, and his war scroll reflects that as well. Yeah, I don't have much bad to say about him at all. Anything bad, actually.
I think you didn't see a lot of Sigvold in demon units. You saw them way more in the Sabarite type of build. I think you've now got this independent threat piece like Eltharion, where it doesn't matter. You've got a place for Siggy, and I would expect to see Sigvold pop up in a few more lists. I think this is a interesting unit, and the temptation is the thing that really makes it interesting, because you can pin somebody and force them to pile in, and I think you can do a lot of interesting things with that, or you're forcing the heal, so you're just going to have this threat that just never dies.
And the amount of times you're versing an opponent and you're like right on the edge of an objective and you know they're going to pile in and tag that objective and take it from you. Sigvold just says, I'm more important than an objective, so come at me. He is a Paragon. Just be aware for anyone using him that you'll only have 2 choices. And
Yes.
if you're taking him with Glutos as well, you're down to 1 Paragon choice, because they're both set as Paragons, because Slaanesh can't be mad at either of them.
Which can be a good and a bad thing, but then you turn off a lot of temptation options. So yeah, like, just be mindful of that. Shard Speaker of Slaanesh is interesting. Like, some interesting things there. Like the spell, the spell is the thing that I really like, is the subtracting 1 from save rolls. That's like, you lost a lot there. You lost a lot, but it's that spell.
And she didn't go down. I think she should have gone
No,
down.
no. Shard Speakers didn't change.
Because her spell used to just be her shooting phase ability. And now it's a spell, but it's a spell that she has to be the Paragon for. So if she's not the Paragon, she's not even casting her War Scroll spell. I do love her +2 to casting and possibly inflicting mortal wounds on herself. That's nice. I can see that being useful quite a lot. It's the only reason I'd ever even decide to take her, to be quite frank. Because she's a 1-power wizard. But yeah, she was the least. She was underwhelming for me. Can never downplay the value of a +2 to cast. That's phenomenal. And when she's only got 5 health, you might kill her trying to use that ability, so be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like that her War Scroll spell is tied to having to be one of the 3 choices of your Paragon. And if you bring the other 2 that we just talked about, she's your only choice for a Paragon to be able to give -1 to their save. So yeah, we'll see her use. People will still use her for +2 to cast. Why wouldn't you? Especially with the spells being quite nice. But not my cup of tea.
It's a powerful spell, so I don't blame it from being tied to Paragon. But if you're running any of those 3, if you're running Shalaxi, Glutos, or Sigvold, I'm not taking this. Like, it just, I know you don't have to do it, but like, to tap into that, It's too good not to. Like, it's such a good spell. I feel like there's a redundancy of not using it. Lord of Pain went up 10 points, somehow lost its 5-up ward. That's going to hurt a little bit. What else has happened? You've got a
Because it's now
new ability
situational
called
on the Lord of Pain.
yeah. Yeah, so, like, you've got this change of, like, Share the Pain, which now gives the unit a 5-up ward while it's in combat. So it does have, like, this pro and con, or at least a conditional thing. But then you got the Atrocious Ministrations ability.
Which is the best part about him. It's why you will take him with the Twin Souls. And we'll talk about the Twin Souls very soon, but I cannot see anyone taking the Twin Souls without taking the Lord of Pain. Because they have a little thing where if they're damaged, they get some things and he can dish damage out to your units. And also just buff them at the same time because run and charge on them is really nice. Um,
I
yeah,
was just
so
reminding I was just reminding myself what the Disciples of Torment are, and that's a +1 to wound roll. So you do have that as a spell, but it's not natively giving that. So yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Lord of Pain combines really well with Twin Souls, and then Lord of Hysteria ties in really nicely with the Pain Bringers.
Painbringers, yeah.
Yeah, so you got this little like 1-2 combination.
And they just combo so perfectly that if you are running either of them as well, I can't see anyone saying, you know what, I'm not going to invest the points in doing that because the heroes, not only they're there because they're non-unique for your temptations, they're buffing those units out the wazoo, and they just it's really nice to see the heroes comboing so well with what they're designed to do. And he's supposed to be the greatest of, the Twin Souls. And same with the Painbringers as well. So it's really nice to see that it does work so well together.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I wonder if this is setting up for 5th edition 40 sorry, 5th edition Age of Sigma. I've been watching a little bit of 40K lately and just seeing some of the changes where, like, you've got a hero tied to a unit. I'm like, this book is kind of doing that where you've got this unit plus the, like, it's very, very specific. Obviously you can run the Lord of Pain wherever you want, but it's very clear you want to have this combination with a unit. Not that I know, but, like, I was just like, this reading this book makes me think that maybe they're setting up for that. A lot of hubris. Interesting. Lost its 5-up ward, lost its only the best will suffice, improved its base save, and it's now got a rewrite of You First I Insist. So it's now a temptation. So
It's so good.
interesting little, yeah, yeah, it is a temptation, like, I will say.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be Paragon to use it. And
No.
it
But they have to accept or decline the challenge. Like, you've got to so your opponent must decide if the target will accept or decline, and then if they accept, you get a thing. If they decline, you get a thing. So if they decline, the target strikes last, and then you get to add +1 to your damage of the melee. If they accept, subtract 1 from hit rolls for target's attacks, and all the target's attacks must fight this unit. So nice little distraction piece potentially. Like, I suppose, like, 5 attacks, potentially damage 3 and strike last.
it's more comboing with your other units as well because it's by itself not a huge threat, still there as well, but being able to combo saying, hey, I'm going to sacrifice my 5 health 4 up save because if anything going into it, it puts all their attacks into it. He's not long for this world. But being able to then protect those other things that you're with as well that are
Yeah.
going to hit really hard. And if, they want to put their targets into these things, even other heroes as well, they're going to have strike last. You're going to hit them with absolutely everything in combat. You'd never have him by himself. The Lord of Hubris, you wouldn't just be out alone out in the corner. You'd be with things, and it's a really juicy combat phase ability that I really like. I did actually, after reading that, have to check the points and see it didn't go up just 10 because I would probably pay more than what he is now for having him in my list. And
Okay.
also chain activation as well, which is fantastic.
If this was Daughters of Cain and I could force an attack into it and then get a blood right, I would absolutely do it. And it's in fact what we do in Daughters of Cain. In Slaanesh, I'm not so much sold, but I can see your argument. Slangor Fiend Blood, again, kind of comparing it to Scourge of Gairan. That's fine.
They
That
are Gairan,
fine.
pretty much. It's nice to
Yeah.
see that the things that people liked about units that were Gairan are being brought into the new ones as the actual War Scroll, because the old Fiend Bloods just weren't being used. The Gairan ones are great. They've got
I,
everything about them.
I like the anti-infantry. I really dig that. Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. Got the deep striking, which is what everyone uses them for, and they're still dangerous as all hell with 4 attacks each and 2 damage.
I'm just happy we use them. It's been so long. Oh my god, there's still more changes. I want to go to bed. So we have it's getting late here in Australia land. We got way more things. So we've got the Painbringers, the Twin Souls, the Bliss Barb Archers. The Mortals went down a little bit. Ignore that. I've actually got a whole slide dedicated to the Fane. So let's just pretend that this didn't exist here. Like, what are you talking about, Anthony? I don't know. I don't
Because that's
know.
also nice. Yeah.
It's on the yeah, it's on the last page, and you got your manifestations there as well. So, do you want to give me the high level? Let's just punch this one out.
Yes. Smash it out. I like all the point drops around them. Bliss Barb Archers having a ward instead is also great. Instead of the -1 to be hit, I think see that being a lot more useful. Having their once per turn army shooting, like when they're in combat, being able to shoot in combat with crit auto wound, really interesting. Um, yeah, they're great.
Who's this?
I
This is
didn't
your
used
Bliss
to like
Barbs.
Bliss Barbs. Yeah, Bliss
Yeah,
Barbs, jumping Bliss Barbs. Just I didn't used to like them, not crit auto wound and things like that. I could actually see myself using them a lot more now. And with a point decrease, they were very expensive before, so quite nice.
nice little combination with glue toss as well, being able to bring back some as well. So, the bow
Uh,
reduction though, like the 15 from 18 will hurt a little
yeah,
bit. Um, so you're gonna have to put them out in a little bit closer to harm's way. But
but
they're
yeah.
yeah.
That makes them a lot more survivable in combat. They used to be completely useless. You tag them in combat, you can forget about them. They're not going to hit you back, and they're just stuck in combat. Now there's actually your opponent needs to consider, I need to get rid of these because otherwise you're getting shot with arguably more damaging attacks when they're in combat than when they're not, because they just used to get tagged by any little random thing, and then those 300 points are gone from a reinforced unit. Um,
And there's
but
no way
jumping
to
around.
get them run and shoot either. Like that's probably part of the problem. So
Yeah, exactly, and they just get stuck, jumping around really badly on this slide. Apologies. Painbringers, um, they just combo really, really, really well with the heroes as well. They're going to be so tanky. I cannot see a Sybarite list not bringing the Painbringers because they're just going to hold everything thrown at them. Um, I love them for their points as well. I see the point increase. I cannot be mad at their 20-point increase as well, because they're just going to be so useful. 5 up ward on them, 2 health on them, and
3 up save as
3 up
well.
save. Yeah,
Like
exactly. That's unheard of in Slaanesh. Um,
like
and then
like
you just
they
do the
are.
splashback mortals when they survive anyway. Like, I just wouldn't go into them, to be perfectly honest, to avoid them because they're really tanky. Twin Souls are going to be hitting quite hard. Um, I'm sad about them losing the -1 attack passive. That was really nice. Lots of people have to work around that now in their list because they were brought so importantly for that reason. Um, but now that you're just going to want to get them in with the +1 damage, they're going to murder a lot of things. And then you do the +1 rend when they're damaged, which is why you combo them with a lot of pain, because he deals that 1 damage point, which doesn't even kill a model, gives them run and charge. You're then hitting with 2 rend, 2 damage attacks, and just obviously the 2 rend is conditional as well because it's into the high control score. So you want to go into heroes. Oh, that's the damage characteristic, sorry. The damage characteristic is the into high control score. The rend is when they're
Yeah.
damaged. Um Slick Blades movement is 14, which is like the Seekers that we spoke about. The Demon Seekers. 14 movement on the cavalry across the board now as well is going to be really, really useful. Yeah, I don't have much to talk about it with the cavalry, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Rerolling charge, I think they had
I
that
was
before
surprised they're on
anyway, didn't
4
they?
health. I was surprised
Yeah, were they always full
like,
health?
I am checking that now because when I saw it, I'm like, they're 4 health. Like, I remember Chaos Knights being 4 health. I didn't remember. Let me just check the tapes. Nope, they've always been
Yeah.
health 4. Like that's crazy good. Like Blood Knights are probably cursing your name because they're health 3.
Exactly. You've got these
Like,
naked riders on the Seekers that are somehow full health, but
that's
we
wild.
don't
That's
talk about
wild. Like, but think about this, right? Like they're 4 health, move of 12, you can get them to 16. So move of 14 can get them to 16 with a spell. Like they're not just
re-rolling
run
charges.
and well, and the perfect example of having them on the flanks and then running and charging. Like that is a terrifying unit. That's a terrifying unit.
Oh yeah, and a point decrease. Like they have always been a really, really damaging, really good, quick cavalry unit for Slaanesh, and now they're less points. So like, fantastic.
I don't see why you don't take 1 unit of reinforced. Like they are just like obviously like if you've got the recursion of demons, you prefer to take the seekers over the regular seekers over slick blades, but like even a unit of 5 will tie something up for a while.
Oh yeah. Retreat and shoot on the archers. They're just quick bliss barbs. They really are. Very quick now with 14-inch move instead of 12. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to talk about in terms of the bliss barb seekers. They're still just doing their job. Quick shooting. The manifestations. Really, really like the manifestations. Those of you that, like me, relied on the Dreadful Visage for its making strike last, because it used to be you roll 6 dice every 4 up, and then if you kill a model, makes them strike last. Unfortunately, that was the one that I'm still not sold on. But the others have all improved massively in my books. The Wheels of Excruciation now are deadly on anything, actually. On the charge, they're very deadly. They used to be an attack profile that was like, cool, 4s and 4s, no ren, 1 damage, 2d6 attacks. It is kind of irrelevant, to be perfectly honest. Now it's got extra charge damage. It's now 4 tier 2s to wound. It's really hurting in combat. And it's enough of a threat that if you do not kill it, at the end of any turn, you're just dealing d6 mortal wounds to anything in combat with it. So if that goes into you, not only is it now a viable threat, because it used to be, I'm just going to roll over people and deal mortal wounds. You want to get rid of this. You do not want to be sitting at the end of a turn in with a Wheels of Excruciation, or even letting it activate, to be perfectly honest. Big fan of the wheels. Anthony made me repaint mine because my base wasn't the same color, because I didn't use them in my old list at all. And now
I
I'm like,
wasn't
all right, I'll go fix that mine.
I wasn't hobby shaming. I was just like, "Hey, your whole army is like a grayish base, and this is brown. What's going on?
What are you
Let
doing? Yeah, you idiot.
No, I didn't shame you. I will say the dreadful. I'm pretty unimpressed with that. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly can't think of many times where I've run a manifestation. So, I don't think I have ever done it. Like, I'm struggling to see a situation where this ability would trigger, and it would be meaningful. So
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
And
I don't know. Look,
I was very disappointed in the Visage.
I'm moving on. I'm moving on. It's getting late. I don't want to talk about Visage. It's there. If you don't like it, go get a different manifestation law. The other thing as well is you've got the Fane of Slaanesh. So this has changed a little. Like, what have you noticed? Especially like we've got this OBR type of rule where the aura is expanding every battle round. So
Completely changed. Completely changed. I used to sit it in my back line, used to just, use it once for the initial hits to give +1 to run and charge, or like +1 to cast, keep my caster near it. And then use Place of Power to heal myself up after taking damage, or use the Pennant of Slaanesh to heal myself. Completely rewritten. Not only is it a defensive thing now, I'm going to be sticking this close up to my front line because I
You were
want it
very
to be a
aggressive.
threat. Yeah.
You were aggressive against me. You put it as close as possible.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be fantastic. Not only the aura starts quite small, or the effect range, I should say. It's not really an aura because you pick a unit within 18, and then it only affects it when it's within a range. But being able to turn off all weapon abilities, or just actually, it gives the companion keyword, so it effectively turns off the weapon ability and things like that. To any unit within 18. No stipulation for hero or regular unit or cavalry or anything. Any unit. And it's until the start of your next turn, I'm pretty sure as well. Yeah, start of your next turn. So very good. And late game, its aura is going to be so wide that if this manifestation is not manifestation, faction terrain is not killed early, it's going to be a menace when there's not many things left on the board as well, and you're just pinging them, being like, you know what, you're not a threat because I'm just completely nullifying everything. If you're versing it, try and kill it, but if you get close to it, it's going to start affecting you in ways that you do not like. It's on a 3-up at least. So that's, if it was guaranteed, it would probably cost points. So I'm glad it's on a 3-up.
Yeah, and like, as well, this is the unit isn't wholly within, it's just within. So
Within, yeah.
it does give you a little bit more space to potentially touch the unit that you really want to. Yes, it's not guaranteed, but then some of this movement shenanigans, pulling people certain ways, like we've talked about as well, might be a way that you go out and protect this terrain feature, given you're being way more aggressive. I remember back in second edition where you had to sacrifice an artifact into the terrain feature to then do a thing. And there's been a long list of weird things this terrain feature has done. But
We're not murdering ourselves anymore. We're not doing anything to ourselves, just the opponent. And it's nice that you can still pick an enemy when, even though they haven't reached the battle round to affect you, you can still pick them. So it's an incentive not to go close to it. So if you've got something you need to protect, or you set up a defensive line or something, or want a castle, anything like that, you can still pick an enemy and say, you come near me, you're getting the companion keyword. Sorry about it. Nothing you can do about it. Try and kill my 10 health 4-up save thing with a ward as well.
yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's where like you have a Lord of Pain who protects it and then forces the attacks to go into the Lord of Pain instead of the terrain feature. So that might be a nice little piece there. Like there's a lot of cool. This is kind of what I was saying earlier, is that this is a really interesting techie RB. It's going to take you a while to get the hang of it. Some people are not going to like the techiness, and they're going to, and they want a simpler RB. I think, yes, in a way, like simple is good as a Suns player, but also simple gets boring. So I think there's a lot more interesting dynamics that you can bring to the table here, and it's going to take you a little bit to get across the little rules, but
But you'll have a lot of fun when you actually do end up grasping it, because there's so many options.
yeah. So, because we are starting to wrap up, I thought I'd share the points that I've been verbally sharing with you. As you notice, there is a lot of red here, but it's fair to say that a lot of units have probably been glowed up. You will notice that our retirement tour units, the blade bringer, health flayers, they still have points. They're still here, so feel free to run them until the 1st of June 2027. You'll notice as well that there is one artifact and one heroic trait that costs points. So your Crown of Slaanesh is 20 points, and the Rod of Misrule is 10 points. And this is kind of what caught Sean out in our game, where you were at 2K, or you were just over 2K. We had to get it down to a point where it was like Shalaxi was getting on to 2000, or the keeper was 220 because it's like 20 points more, and then it stopped you from having the Crown of Slaanesh. So there's a lot of points tweaks, a lot more glow up, but I think generally you're going to have to maybe drop a unit or redesign the unit. But given there's temptations and paragons, um and its changes to the crit 2 hits, I think it's probably worth starting from the start. And mind you, this might change slightly towards the release. I don't know what Warcom's going to put out finally, but this is the points as time of recording.
Yeah, lots of red. Just rework your list. You'll have a lot of fun trying to make some good list options with this as well. Trying to go around the temptations, have fun with it, and I'll look forward to seeing what people come up with because there's going to be a lot of really cool lists.
All right, I'm going to unhide this for a final 5 second call out. This is some lists that Sean's been running. Um, Anything like at a higher level you want to share, feel free to snip it. This is just an example of some of the things that you've been cooking. Definitely not for the mortals. I know a lot of demon people have been looking for some love, but mind you as well, I think the mortals haven't seen as much change, at least from a points point of view. So you're probably just trying to find some points for the Lord of Hysteria, likely, but otherwise, like you're pretty okay. Oh, Siggy went up, Sigvold went up, and that, but
They're fun lists as well, and you'll have Sybarite lists will be very competitive as well, which they've always been
hmm.
really. And I'm just excited to get Dexcessa and Synessa to work and see how it goes, and hopefully not get shot off the board because that's always a good sign.
I guarantee you, I'm going to shoot you off the board.
I
My
know. You'll make me cry
well,
just a little bit.
well, my Cogfort did a whole bunch of f nothing
You need to
against
try not to
you.
roll ones. Like you've got 5
Great.
other numbers that you could roll, but you just choose ones.
Well, they were pretty good unbinders, so let's not completely trash my Cogfort that unbound 3 of your manifestations and 1
Wizard
spell.
Cogfort,
So
yeah.
Wizard Cogfort for the win. Would you put a Cogfort in Slaanesh? I don't think it's a bad
If
idea.
just the fact that the points have gone up, I'd need to really cut a lot of things because it's a big point investment. And I don't want to run out of things that can use temptations because they're kind of good.
Yeah, it's fair. Like, it actually would be kind of cool having a mobile, like, little defensive piece, but you probably don't need it. So it is getting really late in Australia, and we both need to go to bed. I'm so effing tired. Which is why I've let you do way more talking of the changes. I'm like, yeah, Sean, just carry it over. Overall, look, as an opponent, and I'll let you have the final word. I really enjoyed our game. And I enjoyed our game not because of you. I mean, you are a lovely human, so it was good to play you. Um, but I found it very dynamic in nature. And as an opponent, it was really hard to in old Slaanesh, you could pick, there were certain things where it's like, right, I need to handle this unit or avoid this unit. And it was basically, could I do what I want to do? Or are you going to do what you want to do? But given the dynamic nature, everything could be a threat. And I had to worry whether it was the fiends coming in, whether it was the manifestations, whether it was the seekers or the demonettes or Shalaxi. Like, there was so much going on for me. It was hard to unravel your army. But then for you, it's hard to pick out and play 1 or 2 steps ahead, right? So, and not almost like trip over your own foot. So for me, I really enjoyed the game. I felt the game was competitive. I felt that you play into battle tactics really well and the mission really well. You've got threats on the board. You've got interesting things to do, but you got a lot of things to think through. And I think this is kind of where my comment about having tokens, you're not going to trip yourself up because it's clear that this is used a temptation or this is one of your paragons and like, you know what I mean? So what are your
People are
final
going to
thoughts?
love the book. It's opening up so many options. It's a breath of fresh air for what the tome is currently, and they've done it really well in terms of how they've managed the temptations. I do think it's going to be something that people need to work at. It's not going to be an army that you can just pick up and do. And some of the most recent tomes as well, you can just go in and be like, yeah, I'll just do this. I know what my army's going to do. But you need to think not just the round, like the phase ahead. You need to think rounds ahead, and you need to think turns ahead and things like that, and kind of guess what your opponent's going to do while you're picking your own abilities, when to use them, and what is most important to you. Is it surviving? Is it doing damage? Is it moving around the board? pick and choose what is most important to you and try and guess and anticipate what your opponent's going to do and adapt accordingly. And don't shoot yourself in the foot, because you will do it so much. No matter how skilled you are, you will make the mistakes of being like, I didn't expect this, or oops, I shouldn't have used this temptation at this point in time. Shouldn't have made this person the Paragon because they've been stuck for 3 rounds, or as my Paragon and being completely useless. So stick at it. Give it the 10, 20 games that you're going to need to do to understand this before deciding, hey, maybe my list isn't good, and changing up the list, because you'll make a list and be like, that was a terrible list, but it was just because you need to adapt to all of these temptations. But have fun with it. It's a great book, and I want to see Sigvold be amazing. Do that. Someone do that for me.
He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. It is one of the most complicated armies I've seen yet. Like, from like a bookkeeping perspective, it reminds me of like some of the old Lumineth, where they had, every unit had a little token, and those tokens would do certain things, and then you could double token, and like there was a lot of bookkeeping. This feels like it's a lot of bookkeeping, so stick with the process. Really good advice. Don't like be changing your list too much. Like, build out that muscle of just temptations and paragons, and test and iterate. But it will be a steep learning curve. But I think once you start to nail it, it's going to be very hard to defeat you, because it's a real thinking game. And as long as your cognitive like load isn't like is bearable, you'll be creating a lot of threats.
2-day tournament, game 5. I'm not going to enjoy trying to keep my brain switched on.
Game
doing
3.
This.
Game 3,
exactly. I'll be like, oh no.
I think that'll be like the risk, like when you're going to a tournament, like day 3, that fatigue where it's like, you're tired, you're sore, you've been overthinking like ways that you can find to simplify it. But anyway, look, I'm not trying to shit on your parade. It's a cool book. It's an interesting book. It's not as obvious as many others. It's not Nurgle, where it's like, pick this up and run rot swords and go 5-0. Like, it's not that. It's not Zine like shenanigans. And mind you, Doc is all doing very well. It's like I'm not like casting shade. Like, it's not like Marathi goes burr, but yeah, you'll have fun. You'll have fun, and it will be competitive, but you'll probably lose more than you win early on. But when it clicks, it'll be very hard to stop. And Sean, anyone want to say hello to? Seriously. Anyone want to say hello to people on the
just
internet?
Lords of Ruin. My gaming group helped me out a lot. Really appreciate it. Gave me the option to even continue with Slaanesh as well, and get the results that I have been getting with Slaanesh. And I'm excited to see more Slaanesh players out there. Come on, I need more people to represent Slaanesh. It's a great time. Enjoy it. And yeah.
And shout out to Bruce for convincing you taking Slaanesh to the Masters.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they worked for me, so
yeah, well done. All right, Sean. Good chat as always. Again, if you are going to buy this book or buy some hobby, you want to help the channel, Warpfire Minis, Element Games, or Gap Games, link down below. Hope this is helpful. Again, I'll reinforce the same context, and also maybe why we haven't been as hard on any particular unit, because Sean has not seen the battle plans. Sean doesn't know the battle tactics, hasn't got the full kind of how the fury and rage dice work. So some of this will change a little bit depending on the context of the GHB, as well as if there is a soggy Scourge of Asqhy, Scourge of Gairan, whatever that's going to look like, if anything. So that might change some opinions as well, but I think this will give you a really good starting spot to unpack the Hedonites of Slaanesh. On that note, hope you enjoyed the preview. I'm going to bed. So are you. And thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging around until the end. I hope you enjoyed that video and you walked away with a few new ideas. Now, if you did, I would love it if you pressed like on the video, as well as left me a comment with your thoughts. The conversation will continue over on Discord, and the link is down below in the episode description. I also want to give a massive shout out to the AoS Coach patrons and YouTube members who are supporting the channel and the growth that you're seeing here. to cheers you are all bloody legends. And until next time, don't roll a double 1 on a spellcast.